Would have been a smooth transition if I actually hit the right screen, but never mind. How are we all? What's good? What's up? Yeah, how you doing, dude? Yeah, how's everyone doing? Why do you prefer Sanctum 1 Sky Theme over Sanctum 2? Partly because it's longer. But also, yeah, the nostalgia. Also, it plays the chorus more often. Like, the Sanctum 2 version only plays the chorus once. Which I was a bit disappointed about. It's still a great song, make no mistake. I just wish that the chorus was played more often. Which it wasn't, unfortunately, so. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Yeah, weekend stream hype. In fact, I just need my charging wire. I'll be right back.
Greetings.
Oh, here it is. Eesh. It's fucking cold. Yeah, how's everyone doing?
It's November.
Hey, dude.
Hello.
Remember me? Yeah, it's been a hot minute, dude. Also, yes, we will be having a few drinks this stream, because why not?
Yes!
Drunk Rift is best Rift.
Come on.
Although Sober Rift also hits different. Also, fucking hell, you guys, if you want to watch the worst Mario vs. Sonic video you've ever seen in your life, oh boy, do we have something good to show you at some point.
See, Mario beats Sonic. End of sentence.
It's like, I don't even care if you think that, like... Yeah, I don't even care at this point if you think that Mario does beat Sonic. The reason... I think we can all agree that the reasoning that that guy gives when we eventually get through to it... Like, his reasoning is shit, like... Right. Let us share the screen, just in case anyone wants to watch it alongside us.
Oh, is this the IGN one?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the stream. We're looking at bad IGN takes. How bad is the argument? Well, no, the video that we're watching IGN Sonic reviews. The point is that the actual debunk video that I'm making, which should be finished either tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but holy shit is it bad. Alright, so this is probably the most infamous, yeah, so basically context for people who are new, IGN, you know, they're known for their game reviews, and they ain't very good. And their Sonic reviews are probably the worst ones they've made, aside from a couple of others. So, with that being said, for context, they reviewed a 7-hour game in 4 minutes 20 seconds, meaning that the video is going to be shit regardless. But for context, apparently IGN fired the person who made this review. Let's get started. Also, I don't think I've ever seen this fully. I've seen bits and pieces.
There's one thing you should know about Sonic Unleashed before spending your hard-earned money on it. It's a big piece of garbage.
Whoa, just like a virgin on prom night, you are blowing your load early, my friend. You don't do that without explaining your thesis first.
Big piece of garbage. That should probably be enough to warn off anybody who's thinking about playing it, but I guess we should...
Ah yes, IGN said the game is shit, so that should instantly make people not want to buy the game. Take your head out your ass, buddy.
Talk a little bit more about it, just in case you like to hear this tortured sound of my voice. Indeed, it's games like this that make reviewers rethink their lives. Now,
fucking hell, it's not that bad. I mean, this is coming from a guy who prioritized health over the Unleashed meter, so I mean, we can't trust this man.
Now, I have a theory when
I'm sorry, but Unleashed is better than health.
it comes to Sonic games. Someone at Sega hates the Hedgehog with all his might, and he's going about trying to sabotage the franchise with these awful games.
Ah yes, they're trying to sabotage the franchise by making a game with the best story, debatably the best soundtrack, some of the best level design, some of the best bosses, and, in my opinion at least, some of the best graphics. Yeah, totally trying to destroy the franchise.
This is the only explanation
I wonder what they said for Sonic 06.
that makes any sense to me. Pretty much every decision made for this game was the wrong one.
Let's just appreciate this in 4K.
Full games. This is the only explanation that makes any sense to me.
A slow as shit QuickTime event, and he couldn't even get the first button press right.
Pretty much every decision made for this game was the wrong one, and Sonic ends up taking more beating than a pinata because of it. The gameplay in Sonic...
He ends up taking more of a beating than my Chameleon.
Sonic Unleashed is split up into 3 equal parts. There are daytime stages, which are actually very good. There are nighttime stages...
yeah, the daytime stages are very good, but, you know, the game's shit.
Which are actually complete rubbish. And then there...
Hot take, the nighttime levels really aren't that bad. Like, that might be a really big hot take. I actually quite like the nighttime levels. Because they focus more on combat and exploration, which I think works. I actually don't hate the nighttime levels. The one exception is Eggman Land, because that level takes way too fucking long. The other levels, they're not bad.
There's also the hub city where you do a lot of exploration stuff, and that's boring as can be.
Exploring these tiny-ass hub worlds is boring. Yeah, no shit. You're not supposed to find most of the enjoyment in there. What you are gonna find, though, is top-tier music and world building.
Now, the daytime stages are actually pretty fun. It's fast platforming that is mostly on rails, and for a brief moment you might actually...
Mostly on rails? What are you on about? This game isn't on rails at all. You want an on-rails experience? Play Sonic and the Secret Rings. Funnily enough, I'm pretty certain they gave Secret Rings a higher score than they gave Unleashed. Also, I'm just moving my camera slightly.
Actually think to yourself, wow, this is what a current-gen Sonic game should be. Of course, your hopes will be brutally dashed later on, but never mind that for now. The daytime sections aren't perfect by any means. The jump button can be...
Well, hang on. He totally messed up that jump. Let's look at
The daytime
that.
sections aren't perfect by any means. The jump button...
How do you fuck up that parkour? How do you... It wasn't even the electricity enemies which require timing. How did you fuck that up?
They're just like, we're not good at this game, so that means it's bad.
For context, these are the same people who rate the Arkham games really high. You know, Arkham games where they require skill, meanwhile cuts to this guy trying to press one button in Sonic Unleashed. Can't do it.
Can be fatally unresponsive at times, and it's just a lot of trial and error gameplay that can get a little bit repetitive.
Look at this gameplay. Okay, so he mashes the shit out of the boost. You don't do that, you hold it. And he jumped over... He's traveling at a speed so slow that James May couldn't even perceive it. And he actively jumps over the ramp that you're supposed... He's deliberately trying to hate the game.
That can get a little bit repetitive after a while. You know, if the game was just 3 hours and only contained these daytime sections, it wouldn't be such a bad thing. And actually, it'd be a pretty good game. You know, I can even overlook the stupid airplane part that they stuck in, which...
The airplane missions suck. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, the airplane missions... Like, these airplane... I don't know why people trash on the nighttime levels when these stages are in the game. I played Sonic Unleashed, and I agree on liking the night stages more than the day stages. Oh, I wouldn't go that far. No, the day stages are still peak. But, like, if any... I don't like the night stages in Unleashed. To be honest, I think the Werehog just controls way too terribly in that version.
Which is a rail shooter where you don't actually really get to shoot guns. But see, the problem is the sun goes down. And what happens when the sun goes down? Well, of course, Sonic turns into a werewolf. Oh, excuse me, werehog, if you want to use the official terminology.
Exactly, get your pronouns correct, you cunt. It's 2024.
Now, the reasons why he does this is, well, it's not really worth getting into. However, you should know...
Why does this happen? Oh, it's not worth getting into. He 100% skipped the intro cutscene.
But the game changes completely. Gone is the speed of Sonic, replaced by a bunch of boring, brawling sections.
I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, when you use the Unleashed meter and you run around, like, Sonic moves really fast. He moves like a freaking grandma at the shopping mall trying to beat the crap out of someone who just stole her handbag. Like, he moves pretty freaking fast.
The frame rate's bad, the camera's bad.
It's because there's only 2 of them. No, I just think they're crap. Like, they're very poorly made. Like, all you're doing is just, it's literally just a quick time event stretched into like a 3-minute stage. It's not very good. What do you think about the end, stating it's the strongest in Sonic's memories, but now Ian is retconning Sonic and Gan remembering Sonic 06? I mean... I don't know. I don't really know about that. Last night's takeover with Elise. Lol. That sounds bad.
And the fighting stuff is just tedious and terrible.
I mean, I will agree, it's not exactly Devil May Cry in terms of combat, but it's perfectly functional. Like, it's not bad. The game... Like, the worst thing about Sonic Unleashed, in my opinion, is the optimization. Like, this game, for me, is like modern-day PlayStation games. Looks incredible, dogshit performance. But, like, the performance... Obviously, this review came out 15 years ago. The performance issues are fixed now, because the Series X and Series S and PC can run the game at 60 FPS. So, like, the worst thing about this game is no longer an issue.
You go around beating the crap out of stuff and performing a bunch of really bad platforming sections. Oh yeah, and you have stretchy arms, because, you know, everybody knows that werewolves have stretchy arms.
I mean, yeah, everyone knows that anthropomorphic hedgehogs exist and can move at the speed of light. Yeah, exactly. I love that he's like, everyone knows that werewolves have stretchy arms, implying that werewolves exist in real life.
Worse is that these stages drag on for like a half hour each.
That is a skill issue. That is such a... The only one that lasts for a half hour is Eggman Land. And even then, like, I'm not even kidding. If you know what you're doing, you can beat these stages in under 15 minutes. Every single one of them under 15 minutes. Sure, it's still a long time, but seriously, the length of these stages is seriously overhyped.
No excuse to extend the pain this much, especially since the fun daytime levels only last 4 or 5 minutes.
Hang on, let me just double check something.
They just drag on for like a
Notice
half
how in
hour.
his gameplay he doesn't hold the trigger once. Like, he doesn't even do the fast movement, he's just doing the slow movement. It's like,
So
yeah,
werewolf
no
that's
shit, the
judgy.
levels last
Even
a
worse is that
long-ass
these stages
time.
drag
You're
on
not
for like
effectively
half hour.
using the
There's no
werewolf's
excuse
sprint
to extend
ability.
the pain this much, especially since the fun daytime levels only last 4 or 5 minutes.
Not even Eggman Land, it took 6 minutes to finish Eggman Land. That is the biggest load of bullshit you have ever said. Unless it's the Wii version. If it's the Wii version, then yes, 6 minutes. If it's the 360 version, no. You would have to do some major cheats to do that, to do Eggman Land in 6 minutes.
Sonic the Werehog makes Big the Cat look like an endearing character.
What? Okay, he prefers Big the Cat to the Werehog. Okay, his opinion is no longer valid.
Yeah, it's that bad. Even if there were just those two kinds of levels, this game wouldn't be that bad. Sure, you'd have to endure the horrible nighttime levels, but you'd always know that the daytime was coming.
Like, if I can be totally honest with you, what is bad about the nighttime levels? It's like, the music is as good as the daytime levels, if not better. Might be a hot take, but there it is. The game still looks gorgeous, and the platforming and combat is perfectly functional. And there's actually quite a lot of enjoyment to the combat. Like, once you, when you start the game, the combat is pretty boring, but once you unlock some of the really good combos, the Werehog is actually pretty fun. Not as fun as daytime Sonic, make no mistake, but I would take this combat over Sonic Boom's combat any day of the week. Like, you know? And in my opinion at least, hot take for the video, the Werehog has better combat than Frontiers does. Discuss.
Soon enough, and you'd get to enjoy those. However, Team Sonic didn't want to let any slip-ups happen. They had to make this game bad. So how do you make it worse? Well, first, you add completely unnecessary RPG elements.
What's wrong with that? Like, seriously, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with upgrading the character? Like, what is wrong with that?
You gain XP for every bad guy you kill, and then you can spend this XP to increase things like Sonic speed or your Werehog's moveset. It's not so terrible, but it does seem unnecessary. I mean, really, do I need to pay to upgrade Sonic's speed? Shouldn't Sonic be as fast as he can be from the get-go?
I mean, you can upgrade his speed in quite a lot of Sonic games. Like, you can upgrade his speed in Secret Rings, you can do it in Generations. You can technically do it in Sonic 06 with the Blue Gem. And you can do it in pretty much every game that allows you to transform into Super Sonic. So, really, upgrading Sonic's speed really isn't all that far-fetched of a concept.
Isn't that the reason why I bought a Sonic game in the first place? But that's not all. I've saved the best for last. Convinced that Sonic fans don't just want to run really fast and have fun, there are hub worlds. These
hub worlds are awesome. Like, they are the best hub worlds in Sonic history. Maybe Shadow Generations has the best hub world, now that I think about it. But, like, these hub worlds actually have world building. They have, like, side missions, they have characters to talk to. The music is top tier, they look great. Maybe these hub worlds still are the best. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Terrible hub worlds are where you aimlessly walk around.
They're a lot fucking better than the Wii version, that's for sure.
Talk to people for no reason, and collect coins to get to the next level. Oh, and you can cleanse people's souls by taking pictures of them. I'm not even joking about that. These hubs are a giant waste of time that—
The humans look kind of weird, though. Well, I think that's the point. Like, I would prefer the humans in a Sonic game to look cartoony, rather than looking like, whatever the hell Sonic 06 was trying to be. So, like, I agree with you, the humans don't look great, but I think that's kind of the point, right?
Only serve to annoy the player. And once again, it's just more gameplay that's keeping you away from the one part of Sonic that's fun, and that's the daytime levels.
You can also, if you don't like the hub worlds, you can breeze through them in like 2 minutes. Like, this hub world especially is like the smallest one in the game. Literally 10 seconds, you're already like out of the hub world.
Sonic Unleashed is a classic example of what—
It's funny how he doesn't even talk about the Sun and Moon medals. Have you noticed that? I feel like he just didn't play the game entirely. Also, Jen, hello.
What happens when a good idea isn't left alone? There's just too much fussing that's been done to this once good formula. It's kind of
we
like
get to see it again. Oh, so he misses the LGBT rainbow ring,
it isn't left alone.
mashes the
There's just
shit
too
out
much
of the boost button, even though that's not what you're supposed to do.
fussing that's been
And
done to
then
this
ultra slow
once good
motion
formula.
jumps
It's
over
kind of
the
like
ramp.
having a group of 5-year-olds come up with ideas after giving them a bowl full of sugar. Sure, there are fun parts buried inside, but don't subject yourself to the pain. But the best thing I can say about Sonic Unleashed is that it does at least make the old Sonic the Hedgehog games look a whole lot better. I guess that's something.
Yeah, Sonic Unleashed, the game that's better than 06 in literally every way, makes 06 look better. We're watching the 06 one after this.
For the full written review, head on over to IGN.com.
Oh, fucking hell. Also, because you've piqued my curiosity. Let's have a cheeky little gander at this. .5. They gave Sonic Unleashed a 4.5.
How much did they give Sonic 06?
We haven't, I don't know yet. Let's take a little look at this. The nighttime sections are poorly designed, boring and frustrating. I mean, the nighttime sections are actually really well designed. It's just that, you know, they're just not as good as the friggin' daytime levels. What's the verdict? Sonic Team couldn't leave well enough alone and just accept a 3-hour game with some decent replay value. Instead, they tossed in one of the dumbest twists in the history of gaming, a werehog really stretchy arms. Did anyone actually believe this was going to be fun? Gone are any elements of speed, replaced with mindless and poor designed brawling segments with some terrible platforming sections. Sonic Unleashed has made me bipolar. In the daytime I'm happy, almost too happy, and at night I become angry and irritable, frustrated and impossible to be around. Hey Jen, thank you for the super chat. Sonic deserves better, more importantly gamers deserve better. Ah yes, gamers deserve better.
Wow.
Well, I've just realised this is another Sonic Unleashed review they've made.
Jumps and just the unpredictable, almost chaotic nature of the stages. It's all there.
Oh, this is the Wii version. Okay. Where is the... What's the Sonic 06 review? Is it not there? I don't know if this YouTube video has it. No, they don't. Sad face. Out of curiosity, let's just go to their website. What did they give Sonic 06? If we can't look at the video, let's have a look at it. Okay, yeah, they gave Sonic 06 a 4.8, so they gave Sonic 06 a better score than Sonic Unleashed. That is rough. My... That's rough. That is rough. Alright, let's have a cheeky little look at some of the other videos that they've done. Let's look at Sonic Colors, why not? Sonic Colors is actually a fan favorite, so we'll see what they have to say. Also, I am warm now, so I'm gonna take this off. Ugh. Fish. Seriously, Sonic Unleashed a 4.5? Really? This game also has a
Sonic's had it
phenomenal
rough
soundtrack.
for years. After his golden era on the Sega Genesis, Sega's had a hard time finding their footing with the Blue Fur mascot. They put out games that have ranged from terrible to less terrible-ish, really. He's had something of a renaissance in 2010, though, starting with the better-than-expected Sonic All-Stars Racing earlier this year and Sonic 4 Episode 1 last month.
So he hates Sonic Unleashed, but he loves Sonic 4 Episode 1. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, we're watching that one next. Oh, dear.
And now, with Sonic Colors, Sega has saved what might be the best for last. The first truly modern-feeling Sonic game.
Aside from Unleashed. You know. I'm not too sure how you hate Unleashed, but simp for Colors.
And all they had to do was take some lessons from platformers past to do it.
I mean, this is the first one that actually feels like a IGN video. You know, like with the transitions and stuff. Also, is it me, or does Sonic Colors' graphics look shit? We're watching it in 720p, but like... Either way, I remember Sonic Colors looking better than this.
Sonic Colors is simply one of the best looking Wii games of the year. Full of vivid color, super detailed backgrounds, and excellent animation, it's also the best Sonic has ever looked. Sonic Colors takes place in a bizarre interstellar amusement park created by Eggman, by enslaving alien creatures called Wisps and chaining their planet and several others to a space station. This is...
I just love this. So, Eggman has created an amusement park in outer space by abducting aliens and chaining their planets to a space station. They're perfectly willing to accept that, but Sonic becoming a werewolf? You see what I mean? Like, how are they willing to accept one but not the other? It's so dumb.
given the developers the excuse...
They think Suicide Squad is better than Unleashed. I would play Unleashed for the rest of my life, rather than play Suicide Squad once. Sonic Unleashed looks better, if you ask me. I mean, yeah, I totally agree, but then again, it was on the Xbox 360 and this was on the Wii, so... Yeah, it was bound to look better, wasn't it? Did you go to the Sonic Symphony? I didn't, no. But the Sonic Symphony is awesome.
Used to create a huge amount of visual variety in Sonic Colors, from a casino-inspired tropical resort to a crazy space elevator. Sonic Colors also has some of the best music the series has seen since Sonic 2 on the Genesis. More importantly, though, the cast of characters is...
I mean, Sonic Colors' soundtrack was awesome, but it doesn't hold a candle to Unleashed, in my opinion.
It's been greatly reduced, refocusing attention primarily on Sonic and Tails, and the story is better for it. Sega has also completely changed the series' voice cast. I haven't been this not irritated by a Sonic game story since he started speaking, and that's an achievement.
I love this. How do you... Also, I love the fact that he's like, oh, the story takes place primarily with Sonic and Tails. Oh, really? Just like Unleashed? Question mark?
More impressive than Sonic Colors' presentation, though, is the evolution seen in its gameplay. Sonic Colors starts by establishing better physics that lend themselves to much tighter, more precise control.
Absolutely not. The physics is kinda where Sonic Colors lets me down. It's not as bad as Forces, make no mistake, but like, it's not much better than Forces. Especially when you have to do shit like this, where you have to like land on specific platforms, like, absolutely not.
The game isn't just homing attacks and holding forward anymore. Sonic Colors...
Oh really? Homing attacks and moving forward? What, like Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1?
does an excellent job of mixing together the crazy spectacle we've grown used to with some really well-designed platforming that surprisingly evokes some of Sonic's well-known competition. Chubby Red...
Ah yes, because jumping on tiny square geometry is some of the best platforming we've ever seen. Oh dear.
Chubby Red...
I just can't get over the fact that they simp for colors but hate fucking Unleashed. That's like, Under the Mayo, like simping for fucking Origins but hating Night. Even though Night is objectively better than Origins at some, like, aspects to the gameplay. Hey, Universal, how you doing, buddy?
Plumber with a red M on his hat comes to mind. The big...
Speaking of which, I'm curious as to what their Lost World review is. Because Lost World is basically just if Sonic was a Mario game. So I'm curious as to what their review of that is.
Addition here are the wisps. Each color of wisp grants Sonic a different temporary power. Yellow wisps give Sonic the ability to drill through soft ground, for example, while cyan wisps let Sonic turn into a laser that bounces
And the black wisp allows... Never mind.
off surfaces and more. There are 8 colors in all, and almost all of them add interesting quirks to Sonic's basic gameplay. With these new abilities comes generally fantastic level design that will often test even the most...
Actually, now that I think about it, the black wisp technically exists in Sonic Lost World. And I'm not going to make a joke about this, I'm going to be very mature how I present this comment, but the black wisp is a bomb. They made the game, not me.
dedicated fan of platformers, though sometimes this challenge is actually a little too much. Later in the game, I ran into a number of ridiculous difficulty spikes that had me throwing my Wii
Later on in the game shows the first boss.
emote nunchuck across my desk. Sections like this are Sonic Colors' main problem.
Yeah, like, look at this sort of shit. Like, this platforming, number one, it's boring as hell, and number two, it's generic-y.
Unlike other major platformers this generation, you'll need to finish every stage in
Does the Black Wisp give Sonic the M-word pass? No, Shadow needs to give him that.
each world in order to progress there. You're gonna have to suck it up and deal with the frustration, and there are points where the game just isn't fun anymore. This is really too bad, because otherwise, Sonic Colors has some of the best replay value of any game in the series, as you gain...
That's actually a fair point. Like, the replay value in Colors is actually really good. Because, like, when you unlock the Wisps, you really do make the most out of the level design.
access to new Wisp abilities later in the game, you can go back to earlier levels and use them to find entirely new
IGN
paths.
saying an intelligent
And
thing
the
for
myriad
once.
of red rings hidden in each stage unlock a number of challenge levels that can be played cooperatively with a friend. I'll be honest though, the co-op isn't great. It's much more confusing and frustrating than it is fun. One screen is not enough for two Sonics.
I've never played much Sonic games other than the classics. Yeah, it is what it is. Fucking love the yellow.
Sonic
drill.
Colors is a dizzying combination of the distantly familiar memories you have of the first few Sonic games, combined with thoughtful level design and excellently implemented new power-up abilities. It's one of the biggest surprises of the year. As a blueprint for the future of Sonic,
They gave it basically double the score of Unleashed. Oh dear. Great level design, beautiful graphics. I love how they praise colors for, like, the two things that I don't think the game has. Like, the graphics are fine. Are they the best that the Wii has ever made? No. I think Mario Galaxy looks better than this game. And I also think that the level design is kinda where Colors kind of falls flat. Like, the game is fun from start to finish, but the level design really isn't all that special. Compared to, like, Unleashed and especially Generations. When it comes to the boost games, anyway.
Colors deliver.
So yeah, which one did we have to look at now? Oh yeah, Sonic 4 Episode 1, that's the one we wanted to look at. And then, Generations. Not Generations, Lost World. Danko versus IGN. The one who plagiarizes and one who, puts people to sleep. One plagiarizes, the other just lies. We'll watch this one and then we'll go get a drink. Because we need to get on the sauce tonight.
It's been a long and often unforgiving road for Sega's mascot over the past decade. After a number of miscues on consoles, Sega stepped into the Wayback Machine and returned to a time when Sonic was platforming king.
Yeah, they returned to a time where Sonic was the platforming king by making a game that is objectively worse in every way to the classic games.
Remake, part sequel. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Part 1 recreates 4 zones from the original Genesis game, but adds enough bells and whistles to make it feel like something new. Breathe easy, Sonic fans. Sega got this one right. Sonic...
Oh dear. Breathe easy, Sonic fans. Sega got this one right. Yeah, by making a shit version of Sonic 1 that already isn't all that good. Hot take, I think Sonic 1 is pretty shit. But they gave it worse physics and less levels. Awesome.
if they say Sonic Episode 1 is better than Episode 2, I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Episode 2 I don't think is that much of an improvement, but at the very least it looks decent for a mobile game.
Like it's back, baby!
Yeah, funny story about this game. It was originally supposed to be a phone game, and then they were just like, alright, we'll turn it into a fucking console game. Doing Prower, how you doing, buddy? Ah yes, nothing screams great game like reusing the first ever boss fight in the series.
Dr. Robotnik is up to no good.
Oh, and reusing the boss fight from Sonic 2. Forget what this thing's called, but you know what I mean.
Again, and it's up to Sonic to take him down. You'll chase down Dr. Robotnik through 4 zones, each made up of 3 acts and a boss battle, plus a final boss battle stage that really tests your skills.
I feel like you could honestly beat this game in under an hour. Like what? Like 4 stages with 3 acts? I feel like you could beat this game in under an hour.
Do the stages look familiar? Well, they are. These are all areas inspired by the original Sonic game, but once you get past the Splash Hill zone, there are a lot of changes from the old Sonic. The Lost Labyrinth has areas where you carry a torch, searching in the dark for the exit and lighting dynamite to blow up obstacles. The amazing Casino Street has playing cards that flip over as you run past them. These make poker-style hands that earn you bonuses as you zip through the level. Robotnik's Mad Gear Zone has giant gears you have to run across to open new passageways. And back are the special stages, which have Sonic free-falling through a level that you're rotating as he makes his way to collecting a Chaos Emerald. Though the art style is similar to the old Genesis game,
The art style is not similar in the slightest.
visuals have been upgraded for modern day. This is one pretty Sonic game.
Sorry.
The most pretty thing about this game are the fecking playing cards right there. That is the most pretty thing about this game. Looks awful. I think Sonic Runners looks better than this, and like Sonic Dash. Nicholas, be careful what you're saying, buddy. Like, that personally doesn't offend me, but just be careful what you're saying. It looks like a phone game. Well, yeah, that's because it was. They made Mephiles have facial expressions. It's like it's Shadow Generations, therefore it's 0 out of 10. Yeah, it is what it is. Who do you think's worse, Danko or IGN? Danko. Like, IGN are morons, but at the very least they don't commit crimes. But, like, Danko plagiarizing, like, that is a crime. That's the sort of shit that would get you kicked out of college.
The levels have a nice amount of detail and bright colors that really pop off the screen. The music is suitably Sonic.
Not to mention that IGN actually put in effort. Like, they're kind of like Screw Attack, where, like, they put in effort, but they're like, morons. But at the very least, they try. You know, they approach the subject with enthusiasm. Danko, he's just like, he approaches the online article with enthusiasm.
That is, cheesy, but catchy.
Also, this soundtrack is pretty bad. Like, not gonna lie. There's very few times where a Sonic game has a pretty shit soundtrack, but Sonic Chronicles and Sonic 4 Episode 1, I think they're the worst soundtracks in the series.
If things look familiar, that's because very little has changed in terms of gameplay. Sonic still runs, leaps, and bonks his way to victory. All the old power-ups like super speed and vulnerability and the bubble shield are back and work just as they did when Sonic first raced into the homes and hearts of gamers everywhere. The only significant change is the addition of a lock-on targeting system. You can now easily target an enemy or a bumper and fly straight at it.
Ah yes, because homing attacks was certainly something that this game introduced.
This isn't just for fun, it's required to get past some parts of Sonic. It's a change, but it doesn't ruin anything. I guess if you're a purist, you're gonna hate this. But really, if you're a purist, just go play the port of the original game. The original Sonic the Hedgehog was one of my favorite games. Going back and giving the old feel and controls was a perfect decision by Sega. It's the Sonic...
This isn't the original controls, though. This game has a completely different physics engine to the original Genesis games. Like, you're actually stupid if you think that this game does not have the same physics of the Genesis games. Like, not even close.
A game I've been waiting for. Now, maybe it's because I spent so many hours of my youth playing Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic 4 is a breeze. The game is pretty easy, with only some moderate challenges in the first 4 zones. Even the once annoying water sequences are designed to make it fairly easy to survive without running out of air. Things change with the final boss stage though, which I won't spoil by showing.
I just find it funny as well that people were like, "Oh, Sonic X Shadow Generations is woke," yet they completely like gloss over the cutscene where they show Maria from the back, and like quite a lot of the screen is taken up by her ass, and I'm fairly certain she's a minor as well. That's not a good thing, but funnily enough, barely anyone talks about that. People are just shitting themselves over, "Oh, Amy's giving Sonic a cupcake." It's like, yeah, no shit, it's his birthday. Like, oh, I fucking hate people.
But it's unfairly long and difficult in comparison to the rest of the game. An odd spike in challenge that just seems out of place.
I'll be honest, that right there was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, from this game specifically. Just Sonic running on a deck of cards. That was actually pretty cool.
Sonic the Hedgehog 4 doesn't do anything new. Instead, it takes a step back to a time when Sonic was awesome. I would like to have been able to bring a friend along to play as Tails and experience the old Sonic levels in a new way, in co-op. Otherwise...
Oh dear. Once again, tough final boss. Tough final boss and no co-op. Oh, no co-op? Just like Sonic 1? The game that you were jacking yourself to sleep over? Crazy, dude. What are we gonna watch now? Fucking Sonic, Sonic Lost World, wasn't it? Have they even done Sonic Lost World? Oh, they have! Oh, they've also reviewed the original Generations. Okay, well, before we do this, Rift is gonna go get a drink, because I need some alcohol if I'm sitting through this shit.
Oh my phone could die. Good. Where's my lead? Memphis. Yes.
Alright, here we go. Final bosses are meant to be tough, yeah, true. Shadow's doom powers and woke, oh yeah, facts. Banko,
What is Rift drinking? Wrong answers only.
Your mum. Right, let's begin.
What?
Why are all of these early reviews in 720p? I just realised.
Much like a good sports car receives praise for the predictability of its grip and braking performance, the best 3D platformers provide predictable jumping and movement to create a sense of rhythm and control. While the Sonic the Hedgehog games of the past have almost always understood this, Sonic Lost World does not, making the Blue Blur's latest...
Oh! They're actually gonna talk shit about... I thought they were gonna praise Lost World. Interesting. Also, fucking lol, they're gonna praise Sonic 4 Episode 1 but hate Lost World. What do you guys think of Lost World? Like, genuine. Like, I feel like this is the one Sonic game no one can agree on. Like, you either like it or you dislike it, or you think it's mid. Like, I don't think... that sums up pretty much everything now that I think about it, but you know what I mean. Like, there are some Sonic games where pretty much everyone likes it, there's some where pretty much everyone dislikes it. I genuinely, like, do not... I don't think this game is as bad as people say it is, but I think it's pretty mid.
It's outing, right. A clumsy, ungainly 3D platformer that doesn't do Sega's mascot justice.
It has good moments, for sure.
To its credit, Lost World does look the part. The frame rate is...
How the fuck is it woke, lol? Why does Danko plagiarize in his videos? Because it's easy and it's quick. Like, and also because... like, likely because it's quick, it's easy, and also because I'm willing to bet that he doesn't actually like know what he's talking about. So he just steals from other people. Because it's quicker and it's easier. You know what I mean? Why you have to remind me of this? A lot of people in this stream today. Well, yeah, people like watching me react to shit. Apparently.
It's hard locked at a smooth 60, and the visual motifs of each distinct world feel appropriately Sonic. From the tradition.
The level motifs feel appropriately Sonic, stolen exactly from Mario Galaxy. Or like Super Mario Bros. Oh no, but the level aesthetics are totally Sonic. Yeah, totally.
Traditional Green Hill style opening to the beach and casino themed areas, almost every level recalls a well-loved stage from Sonic's past. Colors are well saturated, but occasionally flat looking, lacking the depth and vibrancy I look for in a palette this varied. Though it subdues Lost World.
A palette this varied. You can find it in literally every Mario game.
Look ever so slightly, it certainly doesn't keep it from being pleasant to look at.
And that's not a bad thing, by the way. Like, if it ain't broke 23 is a new thing for you, bro, you should have been here when we watched the Death Battle video. There were like 80 people in the stream. And that's not a insult towards Mario games. Like, it's a winning formula. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you can't claim that this is original for Sonic, because it isn't. Yeah, there was 80 viewers in there. Like, me and Jen and what have you took screenshots of it.
Sonic Lost World is a strange sort of design feat where no one thing is broken, but a perfect storm of subtle tuning decisions throw a monkey wrench into the works.
That's actually a pretty good way of describing Lost World. It's not one major thing that's crap, it's just like a death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Immediately apparent issue is how controlling Sonic feels. He doesn't really accelerate the way he has in the past. Instead, moving the left stick puts him directly into a leisurely jog that feels more Italian Plumber than Blue Hedgehog. And even when you depress the right...
Well, yeah, no shit. Like, this is so similar to fucking Mario. Like, what do you...
trigger to dash, his speed feels lacking. I never felt like the speed demon I wanted to be. As underwhelming as I found Sonic's speed on the ground, I was floored by how sharply it dropped off in midair. Leaps fall far short of what I expected based on my running speed, so I had to rely on the double jump, which returns here from Sonic Colors, to ford even the smallest looking gaps. Wall running is now a common way for Sonic to get around as well, but again, his speed here is painfully lacking. A new secondary lock-on attack has you homing in on foes and punting them forward to clear out their buddies, but whenever you use it, everything jerks to a halt, interrupting your flow of movement. At nearly every opportunity, Lost World got between me and the speed I craved. The Super Mario Galaxy-inspired level designs compound these problems. Sure.
Yeah, that is a fair point, actually. Like, there's not really a sense of speed in Sonic Lost World. It's mainly just like a very... It's like as generic of a Sonic game as you can get.
They open up some welcome possibilities for exploration, but inserting light puzzles and placing much of the...
Whether you think that makes it bad, you know, up to personal opinion.
3D landscape on cylinders and spheres necessitates a bunch of lateral movement, which is directly at odds with my natural hedgehog instinct to speed towards the horizon. Even the 2D sections lack the rhythm and cohesion the franchise is known for. The same awkward jumping and sluggish movement carry over, exacerbated by the fact that Sonic has a tendency to wall run on any vertical surface he's near while airborne. Brief, scripted moments attempt to convey Sonic's speed.
I feel very weird for agreeing with IGN. Like, this is IGN's most based video yet for Sonic. Like, I'm agreeing with pretty much everything they're saying.
These mostly amount to mini cutscenes that take control out of your hands. A handful of levels did manage to get out of my way long enough to build up some legitimate speed, but for the most part, I was stuck watching Sonic go fast rather than making him go fast. Finally, the main villains put up some of the most boring fights in the series' history, while spouting winners like this.
I've been dreaming about pounding his sorry blue butt!
And don't get me started on Lost World's Ice Act.
Hey, yo.
Having Sonic spent an entire level as a giant snowball to slip and slide slowly and uncontrollably across narrow ledges is the exact opposite of fun.
I'm agreeing with pretty much everything. Riff, what's IGN's worst take? It's like asking me what's my least favorite cell in my body. There's too many to choose from. And I hate them all. It's like...
Does this mean no dessert?
After the success of Sonic 4, Colors, and Generations, this is a big disappointment for Sega.
After the success of Sonic 4 Episode 1, just
The game-
tripling down on that poor take.
Sega's speeding blue bullet. Sonic Lost World clumsily tears all the wrong pages out of the Super Mario Galaxy playbook, and in so doing, loses the breathless speed and fluidity that makes a Sonic game a Sonic game. Its visuals make...
That is pretty much the score that I would give Sonic Lost World as well. Like a 5 or maybe a 6. But like... I love how the only thing he praises is the smooth performance.
Talk the talk.
For 20... I guess it has smooth performance. Which one should we look at now? Wait, what did they hint at? Wait, did they do Secret Rings? I swear they did Secret Rings. They did an article on Secret Rings, anyways. Alright, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do Black Knight. Why not? Black Knight has a fucking goated soundtrack, by the way.
There's one word that really describes Sonic and the Black Knight, and that word is Gil. Yeah. It's actually a bit more of a guttural sound now that I think about it, so I'm glad you're going to get the full meaning from this video review. Gamers who grew up with Sonic have waited a long time.
Yes, this video review that is reviewing like a 6-hour game in 4 minutes. If you want, like, good 5-minute reviews, watch Zero Punctuation. Because Zero Punctuation is legit funny. He's like a British person who speaks, like, 2 times faster than I do, yet you somehow understand everything about the game in 5 minutes. We should watch Zero Punctuation's Sonic reviews. Because now that I think about it, he does not like Sonic.
Time for a true update to those classic games that were so fast and intense. And frankly, they're going to keep waiting. To be fair though, Sega did come pretty close with Sonic Unleashed. The
No, they didn't. You hated Sonic Unleashed. What do you mean?
daytime portions of that game were fast and furious, set in 3D, and they did harken back to
Yeah, set in 3D, aside from the parts that took place in 2D, like, the parts that you are currently showing, but, you know.
those ideals established long ago. The problem though was that Sonic turned into a werehog at night, and that just wasn't any fun. I'll tell you what though, I'll take those werehog missions any day of the week over the entire experience of Sonic and the Black Knight. A mishmash of boring, clunky game design that's going to leave you wondering what the hell happened to your favorite mascot. Black Knight is of course inspired by Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Hold on. What did they give Secret Rings?
Oh.
So they would play the Werehog stages over Black Knight. They gave Sonic Unleashed like a 4.5, yet they gave Sonic and the Secret Rings a 6.9. Holy Mary Mother of Joseph.
Game set to the storybook settings of past, and this time around you go back to the Knights of the Round Table, armed with a sword, and you clash with King Arthur himself. Now your first impression of this game might actually be good simply because it does have high production values, and they can trick you. There's a great variety of crisp, really well choreographed cutscenes, all rendered beautifully. Additionally, there are dozens of mid-level story sequences, all of them very, very stylized, and all of them brought to life with very well done voice work.
How many Sonic games
it's
were made? Fucking way too many. Just Google it. What's your opinion on Mephiles' new voice? Literally didn't notice his voice was different.
A bit campy and it's a bit overbaked, but I can tell that a lot of effort went into it.
Yeah, but it's not over yet.
The title uses Wi-Fi connection for a full online leaderboard ranking system for most of the levels. There's even a fun treasury mode where you can collect items you've gained in the adventure mode and trade them with friends over Wi-Fi connection. On top of everything else, there's a welcome gallery mode where you can look at pieces of art from the development team or from fans, and there's also renders from the game, and there's even bios for your favorite characters.
There's quite a lot of cool stuff in Sonic and the Black Knight. That much is for certain.
Definitely some great fan service going on, and it's all brought together by a great menu system that looks very stylized, like something right out of King Arthur's era. And of course, those production values spill over into the game engine itself. This is one of the prettier games on Nintendo's system. The graphics look really good.
The CGI cutscenes, yeah, they're fantastic. The in-game graphics? I don't know about that one, Chief. I think Mario Galaxy completely shits on this game's graphics.
Really detailed, really stylized, and glowing with a host of
I'm gonna keep making that comment every time someone's like, you're a Mario hater, you're a Sonic fanboy. No. I actually like Sonic. I like Mario Galaxy. I'm stuck playing with 2D Sonic on Sonic X Shadow Generations because I can't keep pace with the 3D one. Alright, boomer. Calm down.
visual effects. There's really nothing lazy at all about the game. It actually feels like a lot of work went into making the title. But as soon as you sit down to actually play it, you're going to want to kill yourself.
Jesus!
Fantastic comment. Better graphics than Frontiers. Which game are we talking about? Are we talking about Mario Galaxy or are we talking about Black Knight?
There are two gameplay modes in Black Knight. There's the adventure, and that's the main single-player component. Then you have the battle mode, which is so impossibly bad I'm only going to mention it for a second. Here, you and up to 3 friends compete in an arena-style battle against each other or against a group of enemies, and as you can see, the characters...
I mean, yeah, this mode isn't fantastic, but I think it's cool that it exists, you know? Very few Sonic games actually have multiplayer. It's pretty cool that, like, a Mario Party, you know, esque mode exists in this game.
Even Sonic, move around...
And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that Sonic and the Secret Rings literally has, like, a Mario Party game built into the multiplayer. Now that I think about it. Like, yeah, it's not great, but it's still additional content.
Like tanks, for no particular reason whatsoever. What you see here is
Black Knight, because the grass looks better.
what you get. It's dated design, it's painfully boring, and you will hate it. Then there's the adventure portion, which plays like a Sonic the Hedgehog game. If that is...
No, it does not. Plays like Sonic and the Secret Rings, which doesn't play like a Sonic game.
Check out the speed, the loops, the corkscrews, the pinball mechanics, threw them out the window, threw a nuclear bomb on top of them, detonated that bomb, and then said, hey Sonic,
Riveting
I want to
gameplay
give you
right
this
here.
sword, I want you to walk around really slowly, and I want you to fight a whole lot of enemies. The results ain't pretty, and let me put it this way, there's not a single level in this entire package that's even 1/10 as good as any of the daytime missions in Sonic Unleashed. You're always at a dead stop fighting enemies, and it just happens endlessly, and these battles take place
We need a Sonic party game. We have one, it's called Sonic Shuffle.
via waggle, not gestures, because gestures imply some sort of calculated measurement. None of that's going on here. There's no vertical or horizontal slicing, it's just shake, 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 and win, win, win.
I will say that this game is not as bad as he's making it out to be. Like, I think this game is better than Secret Rings, but it's still kind of mid. Like, if I was to stream this game, I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it, but it wouldn't be something that I'd be too keen to replay.
Win. The developer has thrown together one or two niceties like a cinematic lock-on system that lets you string together combos, but you're not going to enjoy it that much because most of the time you're going to be bored battling enemy after enemy, fighting camera problems, fighting control issues, and just not having a very good time. For all of these reasons and many more, I cannot recommend this game to anybody unless you fancy yourself an
Gets
extremely
absolutely bullied
diehard,
by the
nearly
freaking
radical Sonic
rock.
fan. And if you're one of those, well, you've already forgiven a bunch of bad games anyway. Why not add one more to your list? For the full written review, check out IGN.com.
Oh yeah, you've forgiven a load of bad games. What, like you and Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1? What have we got now? Yeah... Oh, bloody hell, the Dark Brotherhood. What do they have to say about this game? In my opinion, this is the worst Sonic game. Or it's one of the worst Sonic games.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Bozon with the IGN Nintendo team, and I'm here to give you guys a video review for Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood for Nintendo DS. Sonic Chronicles is a new RPG franchise that I think Sega is trying to kick off here, and they're starting it off with Dark Brotherhood, the first and only announced game so far, but it's done by BioWare's new handheld division in Canada.
This game is awful. Like, I hate this game.
And really, in the end, you know, it's not one specific thing that drags this game down or something that's just a huge major flaw that makes it where it doesn't work. Really, it just feels like a first-time effort. The game's your standard RPG fare. It's really made to be kind of a starter RPG for people, so it's not really very intimidating.
If this is your first RPG, like, if you played this before a Pokemon game, like, just seek help.
intimidating. There's a lot of hand-holding going on. There aren't random battles. You actually walk into people. And all around on the surface, it looks like a very nice game. I mean, visually, it's really impressive. It's got a nice hand-painted look to it. And, rather than going with tile design, they just literally painted on the screen. And it's got a really unique, very beautiful look on DS.
The one good thing about this game is that you can have Eggman in your team. That's it.
On the gameplay front, though, Sonic Chronicles is seriously lacking. For starters, Sonic isn't the best source material for an RPG, and if BioWare could pull it off, it'd be seriously impressive. You've got your team, they're doing the standard, search for the Chaos Emeralds and go after Dr. Eggman. And it does get more complex than that, and you get a couple twists and turns. But all around, it just doesn't feel like a huge RPG story. You've got the interactive dialogue trees that BioWare's famous for, but they don't go very far. I mean, you can pick if you're going to say something nice or something mean to somebody, and they'll respond in that line
You
after.
can just be an arsehole to Shadow.
But it doesn't extend, or you don't have, anything kind of like a good or evil, meter or anything like that. So things like that just kind of feel like they're sort of thrown in there, and the entire game overall just has this very thin RPG feel. It's more about just getting back in the overworld, running around, and using character skills. Really, the biggest gripe I have with Sonic Dark Brotherhood is just the whole game feels kind of soulless. The battle mechanic is a straight rip from Elite Beat Agents, and it works, but it could have been like one of 30 or 40 or 50 different unique ways using the touchscreen in fights, and instead it's kind of just this one mechanic that's used over and over again.
He missed. Lol.
As far as an RPG goes, it's just mainly made up of fetch quests. You run around, use different skills, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I even had to run and go find a stapler for a guy. You can keep using these Eggman signal locators, and I mean, it's all very fetch questy, and the whole time it just feels like you're running around in towns rather than ever going out and like truly exploring. Even the puzzles in the game are really basic, and it's a little weird because you can't actually go up to the puzzles and just do them. You have to talk to a guy that's standing next to him, and he'll say, "Hey Sonic, I gotta get in here, I have to solve this. Can you do it for me?" And then, and only then, will it actually become active. So you get little things like that. They're kind of amateurish as far as making RPGs and really laying things out for the player. And it just feels like you're going from interaction point to interaction point instead of really exploring. There are also a few little oddities in the presentation overall. You have sound effects that kind of cut off, or they sound really low quality overall. The interface is anything but intuitive for equiping items, since it just kind of throws everything in this huge list.
You can definitely
instead of dividing
tell
it up
that
if it's,
different
for
people
someone's
are doing
head or for their
this.
hands.
Because it's almost like a completely different person doing this review. Like, not just in terms of voice, but also just the way that they're reviewing it.
So you don't really get a good grasp of what you've got all on your characters. And you've also got some strange collision with the leveled art, since it's a perspective 2D that's basically painted with collision on it. And then also the camera can't always keep up. It gets kind of framey and does some random things like that. In the end, it isn't like that Sonic is just a downright bad game. It's, it's visually pleasing. It's made to be a good starter RPG. And, if you dig Sonic, there's some cool things to see, some big teammate attacks. And, it does feel like the Sonic world's kind of been opened a little more than just, running right and jumping. Especially when you look at the characters, they actually did a good job of dividing them up and saying, okay, this person's going to be a thief class, this person's going to be healing or support. And in that sense, it's really neat. You get the pairing of the teammate attacks, and you also get this where you say, okay, this guy's really unique. I want to bring Knuckles along, or I want to bring Tails along, because they're really fun to play with. Even the skill system and different attributes, really cool, and it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I mean, the attributes really aren't that cool. To this day, I genuinely don't know what the characters do. Maybe Sonic attacks first every time, because, speed. Maybe Knuckles does more damage. I honestly couldn't
BioWare
tell
as a new handheld team, and also for Sonic Chronicles if it sticks around. If you're crazy about Sonic, it's worth at least giving it a look, but for anybody else, Dark Brotherhood's really going to be a letdown when you look at some of the other RPG offerings that are already on DS. To check out the full written review, go to IGN.com.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right, we're not gonna look at Generations first, we're gonna look at Forces, because Forces is the one I've been curious about.
There's a massive energy source approaching.
The
Obviously.
unthinkable has happened. Sonic has been defeated and Dr. Eggman is conquering the planet. The only one who can put things right is your custom-made character with some help from some old-school Sonics. The premise behind Sonic Forces sounds like an amazing mix for a Sonic game, but its inconsistent level design leaves it just a few steps short.
What do you mean inconsistent level design? The level design is very consistent. Consistently shit.
I knew where you were going with that.
Also, can I just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Sonic Forces technically borders on false advertising? Because they advertised this game as a 3D Sonic game, even though one gameplay style is exclusively 2D, and the other two as half 2D, half 3D. So not only did they lie, but they advertised the shit out of this game and made it as a really dark, serious, like, end-of-the-world scenario. And then you play it, and it's just the same crappy humor from, like, bloody Colors. It's like Sonic dies, and then, like, 2 cutscenes later, it's like, oh, he's alive. Whoa. It's like... Like, I think it honestly does border on, false advertising. Hot take, I think Sonic 06 is 1,000 times better than Forces. I disagree, purely because Forces is easier to finish. It's a lot sooner to finish. Like, with Sonic 06, I have to play, like, all 3 campaigns, I have to suffer through long-ass loading screens. Like, Project 06, now that's a different story. Project 06, yes, that's 1,000 times better. But, like, Sonic 06, just, like... The loading screens alone, like, in the loading screens alone, I think I could beat Sonic Forces. Like, just in the loading screens. I don't think that'd be too difficult to achieve. But Sonic 06 has way better level design. 100%.
So they're building weapons here, huh? Making everyone work like robots. It'll be Eggman's turn to get pushed around when I get a hold of him.
The character creation is one of Sonic Force's best features, and it feels great to be able to live out a childhood Sega fan dream of making your own Sonic character. You pick their species, customize their look, and dress them up in all kinds of fashion, from stylish to...
See, like, my opinion on Forces has actually changed quite a bit. I used to think that it was, like, the most average Sonic game ever. Like, it's fine, but, like, there's nothing good about it. But over time, my opinion has gone down on the game. I think it's a pretty below average Sonic game. Because nothing works in this game. Like, at the very least with some games, like Unleashed, for example, it's like you have one thing that's really fucking good. This game, you have literally nothing. Like, all 3 characters play like shit. Hot take, Cybersonic is better than Hypersonic looks-wise and power-wise. Looks-wise, maybe not, but power-wise, maybe. I don't know. I really like Cybersonic, though.
downright odd. Seeing your creation do...
What do you think of Roger Craig Smith as Sonic? He became really good in Frontiers, but like in the other games, he was kinda not really my thing. Like, Frontiers, Roger Craig Smith is one of the best voices of Sonic we've ever seen. But like, Colors, Generations, Lost World, Forces, he's not very good.
Wild stunts alongside Sonic and his friends is endearing.
The best things in Forces are Fist Bump and Infinite's theme. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yes.
There are 3 types of...
What about, I'd say the worst Sonic iteration is still his Smash one. Still worst ways ever been depicted.
You're really fucking quiet. Hold on.
I mean, it's dead, Cal. You need to make him quiet, else will kill your ear holes.
What'd you say, Echo?
Worst representation of Sonic ever is his Smash one.
Really? I mean, maybe. Wait, I'm pretty sure Jason Griffith voices him in that, doesn't it?
No, I'm not about voice. I'm just on about like how the character's depicted, because it's basically just spin dash.
I mean, in terms of gameplay, yeah, but in terms of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, like the Subspace Emissary, he was portrayed very well. Because, like...
I mean, for his power, yeah, but in terms of his character, he literally just shows up and then just defeats a final boss.
Yeah, because, like, all of the Nintendo characters get frozen, and then Sonic appears, and he's just, like... He just takes on a Taboo. I just found that quite cool.
He's not even mentioned throughout the...
Yeah, he just shows up. He's just like, yo, what up?
He just shows up out of nowhere and just goes to beat up Taboo. See you later, bitch!
See you later, bitch. What are your thoughts on the Sonic movies? Actually, pretty good. Like, probably some of my favorite films recently.
Stages in Forces, all of which have great visual design and are set to a stellar soundtrack that combines Sonic remixes.
I don't know. Like, Sonic Forces, the best thing about the game was it ran really well. Like, the performance of this game was really good, but, like, graphically, I don't think the game's that good. I think that Generations and Unleashed look better. And the soundtrack is pretty weak. Like, it has a couple of really good songs, but, like, most of the soundtrack is not that great.
16-bit throwbacks and cheesy late 90s pop rock. Modern and classic Sonic stage types have you controlling those respective characters, using their unique playstyles to run through a mix of 2D and 3D levels. If you're coming off of Sonic Mania, the physics here will take a bit of getting used to, as they don't...
I'll say. Yeah, you're coming from Sonic Mania to Forces. Oh, bloody hell, what a downgrade. That is rough.
...feel anywhere near as smooth. On top of that, the frequent momentum changes and hazard-laden stage designs mean that every so often you're going to find yourself taking a hit you couldn't react to or running straight into a pit. At least it's nowhere near as unfair as games like the notorious Sonic 2006. But overall, the stage...
Oh, that's a tough one. Do I guess, yeah.
The biggest problem should be calling it 2006 instead of 06.
Because the problem with 06 was quite a lot. Like, obviously the glitches, but mainly just the camera. Like, the camera is the biggest issue I have with Sonic 06. And even in P06, it has issues. Like, for me personally, but...
stages feel inconsistent. You'll have a few good runs with a lot of cool gimmicks, followed by...
Loved Sonic Mania, playing it with my family was so fun. Yeah, like, Sonic Mania is, like, the one game that I loved playing on my Nintendo Switch. Like, the very few times I actually played that fucking thing. Like, Sonic Mania was
great. Why don't you just,
great.
like, emulate it nowadays? Like, you can just emulate it.
I mean, I'm fairly certain I have Sonic Mania on Steam, so I could probably just play it that way.
One with a focus on finicky platforms.
Or just play it on the Steam Deck as well if I wanted to.
And bad hazards. All of the stages are on the shorter side and there's no limited number of lives to worry about, so a lousy death due to questionable design every so often is a lot less rage-inducing than it could be.
I mean, yeah, but it's still a cheesy death due to questionable level design.
The third type of stages have you controlling your avatar character who uses a special gun called a Wispin to harness different kinds of Wisp energy. Lightning gives you a supercharged electric whip and lets you zoom through strings of rings and enemies when powered up, while the drill sends you charging in a straight line to attack and lets you burrow into the ground.
The drill was so OP for speedruns. Like, I remember, funny story actually, I played this game on launch on the Xbox One, and there was a stage near the end of the game, I think it was like Imperial Tower or something like that, it was Imperial, like, Hill or something like that, and... I was actually, like, me and my friend basically, like, we practiced speedrunning that one level. And I think after, like, a couple of days of practicing, me and him were in the top 100 on the leaderboards for, like, that specific stage. And at that moment, we knew we had to touch grass.
The Wispin you equip can greatly affect the way you go through
Truly
stages,
words of
and it's fun to go back
inspiration.
to previous levels and find...
Yeah. Being on the leaderboards in Sonic Frontiers, in Sonic Forces, sorry, that's how you know you've hit rock bottom.
Yikes.
hidden secrets and earn more gear by using a new loadout.
What do you guys think of the avatar? I think I just prefer playing as modern Sonic, to be honest.
But a lot of potential.
Because, like, at the very least, modern Sonic has the boost, and he also has, like, he's just faster and has, like, better controls.
For interesting stage design goes unrealized thanks to the short length of the stages. Plus, classic Sonic's presence here seems like an afterthought since he appears in only a handful of levels that are over far too quickly. Amazingly,
Agreed.
the boss battles, which tend to be a fairly...
Did you pick to play as Sonic in Mania? I played as Sonic and Tails. I just love the idea of Tails and Sonic, like, working alongside each other. The avatar should be more OP. I mean,
he's burst, and
he kind of is OP. Like, he controls very similarly to modern Sonic. It's just that instead of the boost and the light speed well, no, instead of the boost and stuff, he has the gun. But the gun's just not that great.
The weak element to most Sonic games.
There's a couple of them that's OP, and then the rest are kind of not that great. Oh, whoops.
Are actually quite good in Forces. They're challenging but not overly long, and feature some stunning backdrops like this fight among the winding coils of a giant snake. The problem is that there aren't enough of them to make them a big reason to play Forces. And that's part of the...
Like, some of the wisps are like... It's like a stage-by-stage basis. Where, like, some of them... Like, if you're playing a 3D level, like, Drill is, like, terrible. because it's basically specifically designed for 2D sections. The coolest thing about the character creator was the species, because depending on which species you choose, you actually had like a different ability. Like, I think it was like the bird could double jump, the cat could take like more damage. Like, that aspect was pretty cool. I mean, you'd be mad for not choosing the bird, because double jumping is awesome. Especially with this game's wonky physics. But that specific aspect, I liked it a lot.
Overall problem. Sonic Forces feels like it's ramping up to become something amazing, with an epic battle between Sonic's friends and Eggman's army, but both the story and the gameplay just wind up fizzling out toward the end of the 5 or 6 hour campaign.
5 or 6 hours? You got 5-6 hours out of this game? Bro, IGN are terrible. Like, I feel like 3 hours. No more than 3 hours. Like, you can easily beat this game in 3 hours.
Did they play
You know, no, I think again, it's quite hard to play games after lobotomies.
You could probably 100% this game in like 3 hours if you know what you're doing.
After that, you can replay levels to improve your scores, rescue other players' avatars, and unlock...
Imagine not getting an S rank every single time in Forces. Like, they hand out S ranks like it's fucking free Wi-Fi in a white van.
Handful of hidden challenge stages to earn loot, but it still feels like there's a fair bit of wasted potential.
Yeah, it was this level. It was this level here. Yeah, this was the one that I speedrun. 3 minutes 52 seconds for this level. I was on the leaderboards, and I think my time was 58 seconds. For context.
There's a fair bit of wasted potential.
I'm pretty certain that the world record was like 54 seconds as well. So that. We actually did pretty well.
More levels and more big, exciting boss fights would have gone a long way. On top of the joy of creating and playing as your own character, there's a lot of goofy charm that makes Sonic Forces hard to be too disappointed with. The graphics are colorful and...
I mean, it's hard... I mean, it is easy to be disappointed, especially if you play Generations first. Like, this game is such a massive drawback. It's pretty much worse than Generations in every way.
You automatically just feel like disappointment when you realise that the main story campaign is like 30 levels, all of which are pretty short.
What place were you on the leaderboard? I'm pretty sure I was like 98 or 97, something like that. And then my friend was in like I think he was like 105th, something like that. We were very close, but it is what it is.
Engaging in the music is a pumping backdrop for extreme team-ups, super speed cinematics, and lots of ruminations on the power of friendship. Several of its stages even have some good ideas and replayability, and there are a couple of surprisingly strong boss fights, but it doesn't build on it.
Oh, fuck me. They said Sonic Forces is better than Unleashed. They said Forces is better than Unleashed.
They said this game was better than 1.
They said that this game is as good as Sonic and the Secret Rings. Oh, bloody hell. This game is way better than Secret Rings. Like, I will never replay Secret Rings as, like, ever again. Right, what else have we got? We'll do the OG Generations, if you like. Unless they've already... Huh?
No, I remember, like, not playing Secret Rings after, like, my first attempts, because I didn't even know what the controls were.
Yeah, like, if you hate Black Knight, don't play Secret Rings. It's just Black Knight, but worse.
I've never even played it.
Black Knight, I actually think is okay. Like, it's not bad, but that could just be nostalgia talking. I don't know. I'm autistic. No, you're not, dude. You're good. You're very good.
Mom.
Is it safe to say Sonic is good again? Seems like the last 2 years have seen numerous fun titles starring the Hedgehog. It's almost enough to make you forget about Werehogs and that time Sonic...
My god. Like, literally Werehogs with this guy, it's like Under the Mayo with the Batmobile. I swear down, like, the Werehog just lives in this guy's head rent-free.
Right,
I was gonna say that.
Oh wow, we've got the Sonic the Hedgehog in the chat. We're looking at your games.
He's like the Mickey Rourke of video games. Sure,
Damn,
it
what-
looked like he was
Sonic,
totally
when are you
dead
gonna
for a while,
cave
but now
Tails'
he's back,
head in with
and we're
claw?
ready to love him again.
I don't think we'll do that.
Maybe not.
So how does Sega explain two Sonics? With time paradoxes, of course. A big purple monster thing steals all of Sonic's friends and dumps him into Limbo, where he meets his past self. In order to restore
Sonic gets
time and
sent to
space,
hell, true.
the Sonics have to relive moments from their past and run really, really fast, because that fixes time somehow.
Yeah, because inaccessible speed.
The entire game
Oh god, they're so terrible at games. They had one job, they had to press RB and LB at the same time. They couldn't do it. Deep down we're all autistic. Oh yeah, deep down we're all spasmoids.
game is an homage to the franchise, full of in-jokes,
And there's nothing wrong with that at all, because a wise man said it best. There is no point in being grown up if you cannot be childish sometimes.
familiar locales, and characters. I don't want to spoil the story too much, but if you ever thought
Dead Cow is a victim of this.
What? What? I'm a victim.
Dead Cow's not autistic, he's special. Let's have it right. Dead Cow, it's okay, they're not bullying you.
I
if
have
my Sonic
zero
game had
diagnosis.
100%
It's okay, you can suck on your thumb. It'll make it all better.
I don't
more
suck on
kills
my
fought
phone.
in it, then you're in luck. Everything in Sonic Generations looks good
It's just
while
having
you're
a
in
little
motion.
vibe, isn't it?
Like a racing game, it's designed to be sped past quickly. The layered backgrounds and vistas are nice, but this isn't a game to stop and admire the textures. And
I mean, you could. You could literally
Okay,
stand
but
still
can we
and
talk
admire
about-
the textures in every Sonic game. Like,
Can we talk about the real issue of Sonic's quills getting shorter each game?
that's a fair point. Yeah, his quills did get very short in Forces.
if you love Sonic's modern vocal-fueled soundtrack, why? The new arrangement
You what?
What?
stop
Wait,
and
what?
admire the textures. And if you love Sonic's modern vocal-fueled soundtrack, why?
That's not even a modern thing.
The vocal themes. I swear down, if he hates literally if he hates Live and Learn and stuff like that, he's actually just a penis.
Yeah, I mean,
The
he's
new
got no
arrangement-
fun.
I miss Sonic's long quills. Doesn't he have them in Frontiers, or am I tripping?
for the game's iconic
I swear he has them in Frontiers, doesn't he?
I'm going to murder Zelda.
He's playing Smash Bros.
Just Smash Bros. Players be like.
tracks are awesome, but I'm most grateful that the game lets you change songs in the levels. There are only so many times you can hear City Escape before you want to kill yourself.
Whoa!
What's wrong with City Escape? What's wrong with City Escape?
City Escape's one of the better ones.
Okay, if I can be completely honest, this was way better in Sonic X Shadow Generations, because in Shadow Generations you could listen to Undefeatable whilst doing like the boss fights or doing the levels. Like, that was cool. I'm so sad that they didn't make those songs backwards compatible with Sonic Generations.
Wait, did they do it with Find Your Flame as well?
Yeah, they did it with all of them.
Okay, that's fine.
What's that?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, they did it with all of them. It was awesome. Oh, they're gonna hate the gameplay, because they hate Unleashed.
Every major stage in Sonic Generations has two acts: classic, side-scrolling Sonic, and modern 3D hominess.
It's not side-scrolling. It's 2D. That doesn't mean it's side-scrolling. You fucking penises.
Attack Sonic.
When you talk about
Essentially,
side-
half of the game is Sonic 4, and the other half is Sonic.
Wait, half of the game is not Sonic 4. Why are you obsessed with Sonic 4? Oh, why are you obsessed with Sonic 4?
Sonic was not real. He was made of glass in this game.
Classic Sonic plays nothing like Sonic 4. What do you mean?
Like colors. Both types.
What do you mean? How the... No.
What?
Modern Sonic has more in common with Unleashed than Colors.
Sorry, was this the guy who...
He literally has the exact same fucking boost animation. He has the same as Unleashed. He has the same levels. He does not have anything in common with Colors. And Classic Sonic does not have anything in common with Episode 1.
Rift's genuinely tweaking.
Types of levels are
Calm down,
your
Rick.
preference
Have
will
a
likely
good
depend
view.
on the year you
You're
were
not
born.
yourself
You don't
when
need
you're
to take
mad.
your
Have a
anger
Kit
out
Kat.
on your wife.
And if you even remember Sonic before he could spin dash. The old school
Fucking hell, I forgot how OP the spin dash is in Generations.
platforming and the more modern, almost racing game levels fit together nicely.
Oh, if you think I'm tweaking in this stream, you should hear me in the freaking Mario vs. Sonic debunk video. Man,
I wasn't there on that one.
It's because I've not made it yet, you cunt.
No, I thought you were on about your stream.
No, the actual debunk video, I've not made it yet. Bruh, that video almost made me rage quit. Like, also, he is literally the ultimate Joker of the Sonic community, and you will see why.
Oh god.
I got ultimate Joker vibes from him, it was awesome. He even had a similar sub count and everything. It was just fantastic.
Did he toss around the word woke?
No, he doesn't do that sort of thing, but you'll see.
Nicely.
Mario's
Though
walk
there
with
are
Princess
still the
Peach got wrong
occasional
again.
moments of clunky controls that can stop the action dead.
Oh yeah, the game has clunky controls. Meanwhile, I'm gonna stand still,
Occasional
look in the
moments-
direction of the mountain, and then just
Clunky
boost.
controls that can stop the action dead. What's great is that every level is a recreation of a level from a previous game. It's what makes this whole game so cool.
Just jumps over the freaking speed spring.
And of course there are boss battles. You'll fight familiar bosses and rivals like Perfect Chaos,
Fuck your wife, she's mine now, Rift. Not too sure that's how it works, you know.
I'm also pretty sure he's not married, as far as I'm aware.
Also, speaking of Sonic, I've just been matched against a Sonic in a Smash.
and Metal Sonic. They're fun, but they feel a bit lackluster compared to boss battles of the past, and the overall
This is something I have to agree with. The boss fights in Generations just aren't all that memorable. I think Perfect Chaos is pretty fantastic. And the Egg Dragoon is it's growing on me. But most of the boss fights just aren't that great.
epicness
None of them are bad. They're all just kind of like mid or above mid.
of the game. There are also challenge missions for each world that mix up the gameplay. Most are cool, but a few of them, usually the ones starring Sonic's dumb friends, are annoying. Thankfully, they're almost completely optional, so you can just play the good ones.
Can't use that as an insult, Sanitize. You know the rules. You can't use the LGBT rings as an insult. What do you guys prefer, Sonic Generations or Shadow Generations?
Sonic Generations is a love letter to the Blue Blood, a Sonic game for Sonic fans. It seems like Team Sonic finally listened to the fan base and took everything that didn't suck about the last 2 decades of Sonic and put it in one game.
What do you mean the last 2 decades of Sonic? You implying that, like, the first decade... the first decade sucked?
Wait a minute. Did he rank this the same as he did Secret Rings?
No, I think Secret Rings he gave a 6.9. He gave Sonic 4 Episode 1 an 8.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I knew he gave another one like an 8 or an 8.
I'm pretty sure they gave Colors like an 8.5 as well.
Yeah, I can't remember which one.
Now that we're talking about Colors, let's look at Colors Ultimate, because this was the remastered version. Oh shit, I'm gonna get copyrighted for this.
You're not allowed to spend money on the same more.
Originally released back in 2010 for the Wii, Sonic Colors marked
Come on, IGN. This game came out, like, what? 3 years ago now? Fuck me. Come on, you can do this. You've had a lot of time to become better.
Turned to form for the Blue Blur. It righted the ship of Sonic's 3D missteps by focusing entirely on what makes the series fun, feeling like you're the fastest thing alive. Sonic Colors
Ah yes, Colors makes you feel like the fastest thing alive. You know, not like Unleashed.
is that same game, remastered for modern platforms with improved lighting, 4K 60...
Improved lighting? Bloody hell, are you serious? Look at his head, he's reflecting more light than frickin' Dead Cow's forehead.
FPS support,
I'm not KSR here.
except on Switch, of course.
Enhanced lighting. The graphics are enhanced, the lighting, that took a massive downgrade.
Soundtrack, and a couple of other minor gameplay additions. None of these upgrades make Sonic Colors Ultimate a must-buy for returning fans, but for anyone who missed out on it due to, I don't know, being put off by the likes of Sonic 06 or Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, it's still good enough that this trip to Eggman's...
I love how that... Wait, hold on. He dissed Sonic 4 Episode 1. He did it. We have character development.
Wait, is this... I thought this was a different
Interstellar...
guy.
Yeah, it could be. This guy doesn't like Sonic 4 Episode 1. The
Oh,
old
there's gonna
guy
be a
is
war
gone.
in IGN. There's
The
a
old
war
guy
in
is
IGN.
gone.
Amusement park is already an easy recommendation.
Unless you're playing on Switch, because I'm pretty sure this game had, like, literal seizure-inducing glitches on the Switch at launch.
What doesn't is the better question.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Regardless of whether you've played before, the story of Sonic Colors won't be a surprise to anyone. Eggman is up to no good, seeking to harness the power of alien energy to fuel a mind control weapon, and it's up to Sonic and Tails to stop him.
Sonic!
The plot obviously isn't what...
See, like, the problem that I have with this as well is they basically took the cutscenes from the original Sonic Colors and, like, upscaled them, but they just don't look... They completely clash with the rest of the game's art style. Since the Sonic model especially just looks completely different to, like, the shiny version that's actually in the game.
What anyone's here for, but at least it's well acted and sprinkled with a few chuckles here and there, especially thanks to Cubot and Orbot, Eggman's two robot henchmen who have their own little running gag of Cubot's voice chip constantly getting damaged and replaced, much to the chagrin of Eggman.
Y'all want fries with that? I reckon that hurt.
Okay, there are some jokes in this game
story,
that actually
however,
are
is
pretty
that
cool.
it introduces the Wisps, the small, multicolored aliens that Eggman is hunting down. These Wisps are the main thing that separates Sonic Colors from every other mainline console Sonic game, both past and present. Think of them as transformation power-ups along the lines of what you'd find in a Mario game like Mario Odyssey, only you get to choose when you activate their powers. Pink Wisps can turn you into a spiked ball that allows you to cling to walls, yellow ones turn you into a drill that can dig underground, and teal Wisps turn you into a laser that can bounce...
What? Do you call it tail wisps?
Ball that allows you to cling to
teal.
walls, yellow ones turn you into a drill that can dig underground, and teal Wisps turn
It's cyan. You fuck.
you into a laser that can bounce off
Don't mess
prisms
with
and
Rick, he
travel at
knows
the
his
speed
colour
of light.
theory.
They're unlocked...
It literally is called the cyan wisp.
Whiff. The whiff.
It's called the cyan wisp. It's literally what it's fucking called.
as you progress through Sonic Colors, but you can always revisit old levels and replay them with wisps that you unlocked later on to access new paths, which is actually something that we'll circle back to. There are a total of 9 wisps that you can unlock over the course of Sonic Colors Ultimate, including a brand new Ghost Wisp that wasn't in the original game, and they primarily enhance 2 things that are key to a great Sonic game: maintaining your speed, duh, and the multiple paths that allow you to find your own way through a level. A pink wisp might give you the opportunity to completely bypass a slow platforming section by zipping up a wall. A drill wisp might lead you to a subterranean path that's way faster than the one above ground. And a laser wisp can instantly shoot you across a section lined with enemies, taking them all out at the literal speed of light.
Ah yes, the speed of light, except we can see him moving. Demonstrating that it's not the speed of light, because we literally cannot perceive the speed of light, but anyways.
These particular power-ups do a great job of varying up the level design without ever slowing Sonic down. Then there are the ones more geared towards secret collecting, light puzzle solving, and platforming. And while these are certainly less exciting than the ones built around speed...
See, quite a lot of the wisps in this game just aren't that good. Like, I don't really like Cube all that much. Hover is okay, but it's basically just a light speed dash. Frenzy is cool, but he's a pain in the ass to control.
They still make exploration and revisiting levels with new powers a lot of fun, as they can help you discover new paths that dramatically change the flow of a level, and even help you improve your time or score. The new Ghost Wisp is probably the weakest of the bunch, as it's really only used to mix up the locations of some hidden red rings compared to where they were in the original game. With it, you can float through walls by pulling yourself to an anchor point, and, well, that's about it. Unlike the other Wisp powers, it's never really...
Dead Car's made a name for himself for not being able to speak proper English and is very special.
Objection!
Oh.
I had a 7 in both my English GCSEs.
Did someone else do the exam for you?
No.
Did you have extra time? And by extra time, I mean 2 weeks.
No, I only had 25%.
25% of what?
Extra time.
Was 25% the alcohol you had?
No, that was the amount of extra time I had. Like 25% of the test time.
No, it's the amount of time he spends every day shining his
Really
forehead.
used in any sort of clever or satisfying way.
You got a 7 in your... I do not believe for a single second. I got a 6 in my English. I do not believe you got a 7.
I can find my GCSE results.
Unless you're like the moron equivalent of Sheldon Cooper, where like in a classroom you're smart, but like you lack completely any like just social skills or whatever. Or like social intelligence.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know the real Sheldon is Lambda, so...
Sheldon is
Yeah,
not
with-
Lambda.
Well, no, they look like each other.
Well,
I
they
don't
did
think-
before
I don't
you...
think I've actually seen
They
Lambda.
did before he turned into a Brexit geezer.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did before he got abducted by Somalian pirates.
Maybe a bit racist.
One downside
there. Dunno.
No, that's just a joke. Also,
So
it's not
what's-
racist if it's true.
Is that because they're drip fed to you one at a time over the course of the whole game, the first time through the early levels of Sonic Colors isn't nearly as fun as they are when you're able to
Oh, you got a trophy.
replay them with all the wisps unlocked. This causes the first few hours to be kind of a drag because you're often forced along paths that are slow and tedious.
Fucking banger of a soundtrack.
That's an issue that carries over from the original, but one that Sonic Colors Ultimate introduces for the first time is related to its remixed soundtrack. The first 3 levels of any world play a newly remixed theme, and the last 3 levels play the original versions. The bummer is that there's no way to choose which version you want to hear, which sucks because I've found that most of the original themes are far superior to the overly produced remixes.
I kind of agree with that, but it's awesome that, like, you get both of them. Like, you get, like, the original soundtrack and the remix soundtrack. Like, I agree, it's crap that you can't, like, choose which one you listen to, but at the very least you get to listen to both. You just can't choose when.
And you just can't play half the levels.
Yeah, you've just got to play, like, one specific level over and over again, which is crap, because in Sonic Colors there's, like, 6 levels in each world, and only one of them is actually good, and it's the first one. I'm a chemical plant theme song laser, so this soundtrack is actually a 0 out of 10. Nah, Sonic Colors has a good soundtrack. I should do a tier list of Sonic soundtracks. That'd be hard to do.
The soundtrack is still great all around, don't get me wrong, but it seems strange to have both versions and not give you the option of selecting which one you want to hear on a given level. The other big gameplay addition is a Rival Rush mode that allows you to race against Metal Sonic in what is essentially just a dressed-up time trial. It's a fun way to challenge yourself to beat a level quickly, but it feels like it should be something that you can do on every level instead of there just being one per world. A total of just 6 races altogether. Cosmetic items were also added in the remaster, giving you the ability to customize Sonic's shoes, gloves, aura, and boost effect by spending a new currency that you can collect throughout each level. None of them are
Pretty certain you can also make him look like the movie Sonic as well. Like, you can give him, like, that sort of skin. Which is pretty cool.
Are particularly noteworthy.
But it should
It's
be
just
the
some
original
straight
trailer
recolors,
version.
simple visual effects, and
Yeah.
tacky patterns. I found myself just sticking with the classic look. On the graphical side of things, Sonic Colors Ultimate holds up reasonably well for a nearly 11-year-old Wii game. The one sour spot is the cutscenes, which were not redone and are super low res on a modern screen. But the actual gameplay runs at a steady 60 FPS in 4K on the PlayStation 5. And there are some nice improvements made to the lighting and character models.
It's not 4K.
Most importantly, Sonic Colors Ultimate benefits from having been a gorgeous game to begin with. Its levels are among the...
I mean, that's kind of the problem, though. Like, the game was already great looking, so when you tweak the lighting here and there, like, you make some areas just look worse. Like, Starlight Carnival especially is just blindingly bright now.
Most imaginative the
and you
series
can't lower the brightness either.
has ever seen. From the Rainbow Road...
Like, seriously, look at this shit.
Road-esque Starlight
You can't even see Sonic.
That has Sonic speeding through space
can
while an
barely see
intergalactic
him.
war plays out in the background.
Also, another reminder, remember that when they say it runs on 4K on the PS5, it's not running on 4K. Modern consoles don't run 4K. Natively, anyway.
Well, they can, but it's definitely not every game. Like, that's like a myth.
Well, yeah, pretty much, I mean.
Most games run at like 1440p, like at a high end.
I mean, for like 90% of stuff, it's not native 4K when they actually say that. So,
which is why I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 2 on PC, because it will run at like 4K 120 FPS one way or another.
Instead of upscaled 4K.
Yeah. It will run at
maybe 60 if you look.
It will run at that quality one way or another.
The world is beaming with creativity, and the unifying theme of it all being part of an amusement park.
Like, this game just looks distractingly
It's just
bright.
icing on the cake.
Which is such a shame, because these cutscenes just look fantastic.
As a remaster, Sonic Colors Ultimate throws in a decent amount of new stuff, but nothing beyond the frame rate and resolution bump really add up to anything that elevates the experience beyond what it was on the Wii. That said...
That's actually a good point, yeah. Like, they improved a few things, but they ruined a few other things. So it's like, I would not consider this the definitive version of Sonic Colors.
It was already great in 2010, and it still holds up as one of the best modern Sonic games to date, thanks to its imaginative level designs, a laser focus on the things that make the series fun, and the addition of the power-granting wisps that add a ton of variety to each level without compromising the speed that should define a Sonic game.
An 8? That's fair enough. I think it's a little high. I'd probably give it like a 7, maybe, but it is what it is. What have we got now? Sonic Mania? Yeah, I guess we'll look at Mania.
Sega! Sonic Mania is a retro-flavored romp, taking direct inspiration from the 16-bit games that originally propelled Sonic and Friends to superstardom. It's proof that no matter how much time passes, great gameplay is always in style.
Yeah, this game looks great.
Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are back to fight Eggman's horses the best way they know how. Running, jumping, spin dashing, flying, and gliding their way to victory across 12 zones.
Yeah.
These are classic zones from
Sonic is fighting Eggman in the only way he knows how to. Gotta go fast.
Genesis-era Sonic games, like Chemical Plant, Stardust Speedway, and Lava Reef, alongside all new areas like Studiopolis and Mirage Saloon. But even the old zones are packed with plenty of new tricks. They're bigger, more elaborate, and filled with traps and gimmicks, both old and new, that tickle your nostalgia bone and leave you totally wowed.
Nostalgia.
Don't want anyone to... No thanks.
Don't want anyone...
Don't want anyone tickling my burn, thank you, IGN.
Sonic Mania is a feast of classic 2D art. Reworked Sonic stages look more beautiful than ever before, packed with color and dazzling visual flourishes, while the new zones' art style meshes perfectly with the iconic look of classic Sonic. Everything has more detail and animation than ever before, giving Sonic and Friends
This is an amazing comment. Why don't these cutscenes have Ultra 4K ray tracing with AI-enhanced images like you can get with the PlayStation 5 Pro for the small price of $700?
Their enemies a lot of...
Wait, hold on. You're not factoring in the disk drive or the vertical stand? That's another $80.
The thing I love about it is that, like, people did comparisons. For example, on Black Myth Wukong, it goes from about 28 FPS to 33.
The funny thing as well is that it's funny that you mentioned Black Myth Wukong, because I think in my PlayStation 5 live stream where like we were looking at the PlayStation 5 Pro, there was like a blink and you miss it moment, and I managed to freeze it on the exact frame. The PlayStation 5 had better performance than the PlayStation 5 Pro. By like one singular frame, but like regardless. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 5 was like 29 FPS and the PlayStation 5 Pro was 28.
Insisting that like it's just the game's not being optimized for the PS5 Pro, but like.
Well, that's the problem. Like,
no,
that's the problem. The PlayStation 5 games, they just focus on graphics. So then, like, the graphics are so demanding for like those piece of shit plastic boxes that they can't get you a good frame rate. Hello, Puffer. What's your thoughts on IGN's logic? I think that's a no. Or it could just be his shuffle dance, one of the two.
Personality despite zero dialogue. The soundtrack is also top-notch.
What was that comment?
No, I was saying that he shouldn't dance, or it'll break down my house from the tremors in the earth.
He's not even touching the ground right now, because he's floating.
It'll create waves in the air that'll cause my house to crumble.
If your house crumbles, what the fuck's gonna happen to mine?
Exactly.
It's just gonna get fucking atomized. He's gonna be like a nuke. Like, there's just gonna be no trace of anything within like a 25-mile radius.
Kaboom. That's a nuke.
Kaboom. That's a nuke.
Remixes of classic Sonic tunes alongside all new compositions. Gameplay-wise, Sonic Mania has all the crucial elements that go into making a great Sonic adventure. Big, elaborate stages, responsive controls and movement physics, interesting and engaging gimmicks, lots of hidden nooks and crannies to discover, and tricky hazards that challenge you to stay alert.
This is why whenever I play a Pokemon game, we always need a water type, so we can bring Flubbles. AKA Puffer.
And act fast. I love replaying many of these stages over and over, learning more about their flow and design, and improving my
Also, not gonna lie, before we watch Frontiers, I definitely need a piss.
Every time I revisit
And also
them.
I need more
It's on
booze.
your copy of Frontiers.
And you will have to replay these stages a fair bit,
I
because there are
subscribed to the channel
numerous
a
hidden
week ago. Well, hello, Nicholas. It's good to have you here. Thank you for subscribing.
Nicholas.
Nicholas Hammond.
Sounded
Special
mildly
levels
creepy,
you'll need to
didn't it?
conquer to collect the Chaos Emeralds and see Sonic Mania's true ending. In special stages, you chase a UFO through a 3D landscape by collecting speed-enhancing blue spheres and rings. It's a fun concept, but these stages do have problems. It can be tough to see barriers that block your way on the ground, and collision detection on some objects seems off. You'll probably need to try quite a few
collision
times before you
detection
get all
seems
those emeralds.
off. Says the person who was praising fucking Sonic 4 Episode 1, but you know.
Also returning are bonus
What's she
stages
gonna
from
do?
Sonic 3, which don't unlock emeralds, but do unlock bonus features in the game upon completion. They start out easy, but you'll soon find them becoming very tricky, and doing all the stages perfectly will take quite a bit of time and practice.
Hey, Rocky Road. I
As
like
great
Rocky Road.
as Sonic Mania is, it does make a couple of missteps. The developers have done their best to pack a lot of nostalgia into the game, but it's really the new elements of Sonic Mania that are the most memorable and exciting, and I would have liked more focus on those. Chances are that if there was something you saw in an old Sonic game, it's in Sonic Mania somewhere, even if it wasn't a particularly good element of an old Sonic game. For example, it's neat to see a callback to Sonic 2's Sky Chase Zone. But let's face it, the forced auto-scrolling and wonky controls in Sky Chase Zone were not very fun then, and they're still not great now. And while the game's boss fights are
How the hell
generally
did they die
pretty cool, some of them, like the Studiopolis mid-boss, have a tendency to drag. I know old Sonic games didn't have checkpoints between multiple bosses, but it wouldn't have hurt to add them to Sonic Mania. Still, even when Sonic Mania stumbles a bit, it's just little speed bumps in the road. It doesn't take long before you're enjoying yourself again, eagerly anticipating what sort of wacky wonders the game will throw.
What's the best Sonic vocal song? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, Christ, that is hard. Best vocal Sonic songs. They're all so good. They're all so good. I feel like I'd have to pick, like, my top 5, maybe. Like, the ones that I listen to the most. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. There's 20 seconds left on this video.
Throw at you next. It truly is a classic throwback longtime series fans have been clamoring for. But there's plenty to love here even if you
8.7, really? Couldn't even give it a proper 9.
didn't grow up with a Genesis. Sonic Mania is a stellar example of a retro revival done right.
Right, well, before we go into Sonic Frontiers, I'm gonna go for a piss. You're about to have canned soup? What soup are you having, dude? I'll be right back.
Oh!
I'll be right back.
I can't see the chat, what?
Born free till somebody caught me.
Let me right back.
Yeah. Nom, 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 nom. Yes, it is echo in the background. Alright, let's have a cheeky little look at Frontiers
Sonic
then.
Frontiers doesn't limit you to a small, carefully curated menu of things to try. Instead, it takes the all-you-can-eat buffet approach, throwing new ideas at you from start to finish, without really seeming to care if they're fresh and appetizing or looking wilted and limp under the heat lamp. When I jumped off the starting line of this sprint across Sonic's first open-world game, I certainly didn't expect to play jump rope, duke it out with a giant robot, watch a dramatic origin story for an extinct race of beings, or...
Do you know how to fish? I'll teach you if you want.
But Frontiers kept me guessing, even late into
Fishing in this game was peak.
the campaign with what it would try next. Even when some of those ideas didn't work, I was almost always glad that Sega gave it the old college try, and as a result, I rarely found myself bored. I did find myself feeling blue because of the absurd amount of pop-in that happens every time this famously fast character does his thing. But
yeah, that's actually something I really don't like about Frontiers, and as far as I'm aware at least, it was never patched. Like, the pop-in is still bad, like, even to this day. Like, it's almost, like, inexcusably bad, like, the pop-in.
Sonic Frontiers is, for the most part, a promising first attempt at blazing a new trail for the series.
What do you guys think about Frontiers? Like, how would you rank it?
While you're working your way through Frontiers' chain of 5 Starfall Islands during its roughly 20-hour campaign, you'll uncover the dark and extremely predictable backstory of a long-extinct race while hanging out with Sonic family favorites like Amy and Knuckles. You'll also meet this strange new enemy named Sage, and learn what her deal is in the most agonizingly slow way possible.
You leave immediately.
Since her main hobbies appear to be dodging pointed questions and speaking exclusively in vagaries.
If we are fortunate, it will destroy you.
With all of the different plot threads Frontiers juggles, they do end up feeling oddly disconnected from each other, and none of them offer a ton of surprises between their ungodly number of cliches concerning the power of friendship and ancient civilizations wielding advanced technology.
I got a sense of completion, comfort.
Weird. But they do leave room for some really good moments between the furry cast of characters.
Never a dull moment with you.
In fact, Frontiers produces some of the most
7 out of 10 game, mainly because I skipped most of the challenges via fishing and went straight to the Titan fights. Yeah, true. Final Horizon made my blood boil.
Depth characterizations of the Sonic cast we've ever seen in a game. One part of the campaign hones in on the brotherly rivalry between Sonic and Knuckles, while another does a great job at building Tails up as more than just Sonic's sidekick. All of that more than say—
I mean, Tails, like, already was, like, a strong independent character. It's just that—
Tails is a strong independent woman.
It's just that the recent games, like, completely fucked up Tails. They just made him, like, a side character.
My ravenous appetite for Sonic's usual anime-style nonsense.
It's strange, but feels natural.
In between all of the fancy robot kicking and rolling around at the speed of sound. Sprinting—
That's probably one of the biggest issues I have with Frontiers as well, like the enemy variety. Like, pretty much everything you fight in this game are robots. Like, it couldn't hurt to have, like, a little bit of variety.
Through the sprawling open-world areas is, as you'd hope, one of the best parts of this odyssey. The islands you dash about on are suitably large playgrounds for you to test the limits of your road running, so long as you don't fall into water or lava that immediately kills you. My personal favorite new trick, though, is the Psy Loop. It lets you draw a circle while blazing a trail to create a tornado of death that impacts everything caught within it. This ability—
You can quite literally run laps around your opponents. It's awesome.
Can be used and abused to do damage in combat, solve puzzles, and even farm rings since it generates a few every time. Plus, literally running in circles around your enemies is just an incredibly Sonic thing to do, which is why I practically never stopped doing it throughout my playthrough. What becomes clear after a few laps around the first island—
The hub in Shadow Gens is what Frontiers should have followed, a fun playground. Maybe. Rift pre-watch. I definitely didn't pre-watch this. You think I actually watch IGN?
Is that Sonic Frontiers is an action-adventure game that joins a growing pack of old-school series looking to reimagine themselves.
See, like, I like the islands, but they just feel empty. It's weird. They feel empty even though there's a lot of stuff in them. I don't know how to explain it. They also don't look very good. Like, they're very bland.
As open-world sandboxes.
Probably be
And in this
because,
particular...
like, despite there being so much in them, there needs to be way more compared to, say, Mario Odyssey, because otherwise because you're able to go across it all way quicker because you know, it's faster.
Yeah, well, at least IGN did a good Sonic X Shadow Generations rating. We'll watch that one last. We'll watch this one and then that one, and then we'll call it a day.
Case, it mostly works out. Just like Pokemon Legends Arceus and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain before it, Frontiers keeps a lot of what makes the Sonic...
Very odd choices. Why would you not say Breath of the Wild? That was very weird, specific choices.
Sonic series for the Metal Gear Solid one, including some fun homages, but also throws in...
Because they all have Arkham combat.
Yeah. Like, Breath of the Wild is, like, the obvious comparison. But
yeah, that was, like, the biggest redesign of the series.
The islands look colorless to me. Yeah, the islands do look a bit bland.
In big areas to explore.
Especially since we're currently playing through Unleashed. Like, Unleashed looks so much better than this.
And fills them with a wild assortment of side distractions and mostly interesting new ideas. Not all of those activities are created equal, but it works overall just because of the sheer variety. One moment you're juggling robots like you're playing Baby's First Devil May Cry, the next you're trying to beat...
The combat is nothing like Devil May Cry.
A time trial in a 2D platforming
I love it when
stage.
Sonic cut off its hand.
And a minute after that, you're playing a game of pinball inside of an active volcano.
This pinball minigame can go fuck itself. This was the reason. This almost made me rage quit Frontiers. The only reason I actually didn't quit was because the fight against the Knight immediately follows this bullshit minigame. And Knight is like the best boss in the game.
You'll grind truly epic rails, solve extremely simple puzzles, do some puzzle platforming, and of course, catch fish. Because if you can't fish, does it even count as an open world game? There were moments where I saw glimpses of genius in this bizarre hodgepodge of activities. Sections called cyberspace levels smartly break up the open world by teleporting you into bite-sized, traditionally linear Sonic levels, where you're racing the clock and collecting rings as you mad dash for the goal line.
I don't know much about... I don't really like the cyberspace levels. They're just not that great. But it is what it is.
On the other hand, one of the big things Frontiers tries that doesn't work well is combat. You're just mashing buttons to pull off simple combos and knock the snot out of faceless robotic enemies. I appreciated the occasional break.
Yeah, that is something we can all agree on. The combat in Frontiers could have been way better.
From platforming. But since it never proves to be a challenge and throws you into almost identical fights again and again, I soon came to resent being yanked out of my lightning speed racing just to smack down another bunch of dumb toaster-looking fools. It's especially annoying when it comes to the mini-bosses roaming the open...
Also, I never really noticed a difference to upgrading my stats in Frontiers. Like, at the very least in Unleashed, when you when you upgrade something, you notice a significant difference. With this game, it's like... upgrading defense, for example, I didn't notice a difference at all. Upgrading attack, I swear you have to upgrade attack like 10 times for you to notice a difference. Speed...
It's probably just got scaling enemies, like Final Fantasy Echo's favourite game.
Shut up!
Like, speed-wise? Well, no, because you can actually see the numbers of, like, how much damage you're doing. And I swear down, you have to upgrade damage, like, so many times for you to notice. Speed... The only difference with speed is that when you get it to 99, you, like, always have the power boost. Pretty much it. And upgrading rings is pointless for everything except the supersonic fights. So it's like...
world, who often dragged me into unskippable fight sequences that weren't particularly challenging or interesting, though the giant bosses that cap off each island, which I will not spoil here, are far more exciting.
So that's something that I don't like about those boss fights, just how scripted they are. Like, imagine if there were boss fights where they, like, littered projectiles around the entire area, and you had to, like, weave in between all of them, but, like, you were controlling everything. It's like, we kind of have something similar to that with some of the fights, but not all of them. It's a shame.
There are other things Frontiers has you do, like solving very easy puzzles that range from mildly amusing minigames to completely brain-dead chores, or dipping your toes into RPG mechanics by gathering collectibles to raise your stats. These aren't terrible additions, but they also don't feel like they're entirely fleshed out. The upgrades in particular are a bit odd since they do things like let you carry more rings, or increase your attack and defense stats by such minor amounts that they barely have an impact on gameplay. It's almost like the developer shrugged and said, sure, why not? And threw every idea they could come up with into the mix just for the heck of it.
These minigames also suck. I don't understand why they make us do shit like this.
The biggest shortcoming with this new open world design, though, has nothing to do with the buffet of mostly amusing activities. It's simply that Frontiers is not at all able to keep up with Sonic's godlike speed on a technical level. My immersion was broken about every 5 seconds when large objects popped into view right in front of me. Granted, that's sometimes hilarious, but it's always jarring and just plain ugly. Most of the time it's a railing or platform.
Yeah, the popping is really fucking bad in this game. It's like some of the worst I've ever seen in any video game.
That blips into existence a couple feet away from you, but sometimes it's entire areas of the world. For all of its amazing quick loading capabilities, the PS5 just couldn't seem to handle how hilariously fast Frontiers let me go. Whether I was playing in the 4K resolution mode at 30 FPS, or the much more desirable 60 FPS mode, seriously, what are we even doing here playing a game this fast at any less? The pop-in was always a common issue.
Help me find the Chaos Emerald so I can beat up some big robots. You'll be free and back to guarding the Master Emerald in no time.
Sounds like a plan.
Sonic Frontiers is a delightfully weird and experimental evolution of the Sonic games so many of us grew up with. Its expansive islands are filled with so much variety and pieces of Sonic history.
I also just hate that cyberspace is like the same like 4 or 5 level aesthetics for the entire time. Like, if you're gonna reuse shit from the past, go for it. Like, combine the level design from one stage with the aesthetics of another, and boom, you've created something different. Even if it's not necessarily original. But like with this, it's like... we've seen Green Hill way too many times.
From classic platforming stages to silly mini-games that they're enjoyable to explore.
How dare you slander the PS5? I know. Only I can chat shit about the PS5.
Even when awful graphical pop-in is a constant hedgehog spine in your side. Some of the new stuff Frontiers tries out, like the self-contained cyberspace levels within its open worlds, are fantastic ways to pack as much Sonic goodness as possible into one package, while others, especially combat, are uninteresting experiments gone wrong. Still, I largely enjoyed my time running around in Frontiers, making it feel like a promising first attempt.
They ranked fucking Sonic 4 Episode 1 above Frontiers. Oh no. 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 Bad IGN. Oh dear.
I think after this stream, I'll take a look at the Sanctum 1 and 2 reviews.
Alright, here we go.
Since this is a Sonic review, I'll go fast and cut to the chase. Sonic X Shadow Generations is a fantastic combination of one of the Blue Blur's classics and a new helping of smartly designed shadow levels designed around his own abilities, and after spending some time with it has become one of my favorite Sonic games I've ever played. Sega and Sonic Team have learned from their recent attempts, Frontiers and Superstars, and have found clever ways to weave the best ideas of those games into a major refresh of a fan favorite. And certainly, when it comes to Shadow the Hedgehog, this is his definitive game.
Okay, pretty high praise for the intro.
Well, they actually rated this game pretty well.
Not sure if I agree with that statement. This is probably one of the few IGN reviews where I actually think worse of the game than IGN does.
Half the content of Sonic X Shadow Generations is remastered from Sonic Generations, which we gave an 8.5 in our review back then. It does have a few new bells and whistles, like the adorable Chow hidden in each 2D and 3D stage, but other than their level designs are mostly unchanged because they hold up just fine. I'd like to imagine...
Slight change. The PC version, like, that was unchanged. The console version was made better. Because, like, the console version's now, like, the graphics look a bit better, 60 FPS, all the rest of it.
That the Chow are a hint we'll see the return of the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2 in a future Sonic game, but for now, they're just a nice homage. If you've never played the original, it's definitely worth experiencing it for the first time here. Sonic Generations is a stellar combination of 2D and 3D gameplay that celebrated what was at the time a 20-year history by curating and recreating some of the best and most iconic Sonic levels that had come before. Shadow Generations wastes no time showcasing its creativity with multiple standout moments. The very first stage, for instance, transforms...
I just feel as though they could have done more with this game. Like, the original game had like 9 stages, this has 6. The original game had like 7 boss fights, this game has like 4. I just feel like they could have done way more.
Forms into fractals and looks like...
But then again, I suppose that's what DLC is for. Since the original Generations, like, I'm pretty sure that game's DLC was cancelled back in the day, so...
the alternate dimensions we've seen in Doctor Strange or Spider-Man No Way Home. The levels from Sonic Generations also get a slight but noticeable graphical boost thanks to the current generation of consoles. Environments look more polished and the colors are more vibrant, making enemies, hazards, and springs just a bit more noticeable when you're moving at high speed. So, by default, this is the best way to play it, even if the difference isn't night and day. However, the real reason you want to play Sonic X Shadow Generations is the all-new campaign filled with creative reimaginings of Shadow stages from his past appearances throughout the Sonic series. Shadow's 5-hour campaign is separate from the Generation storyline, but plays out in a similar way, in that each stage has one part in 2D and another in 3D. Shadow's stages have all the fast-paced appeal you'd expect to get when playing a...
See, that's one thing that I really like about Shadow Generations. You have, like, these stages which are, like, exclusively 3D. Like, 100% of these levels are 3D, which I really like.
Sonic, similar to when new paths open up when replaying a stage after...
Especially as a PO6 lover.
Sonic has gained the Light Dash ability. Shadow starts with a similar skill called the Chaos Dash, and then goes on to open up even more pathways when returning to stages with abilities like the Doom Wings that let you fly short distances and skip whole sections of levels, making them play very differently. Shadow's Chaos Control ability also creates fantastic moments where he does things like freeze time to destroy a missile flying at him in a flashy mini cutscene, and unlike in the 2D Sonic stages that play like classic Sonic with no homing attack or boost gauge, Shadow keeps all his abilities for his 2D sections so they feel just as fast as his 3D stages.
Sure.
Besides the main stages, there are various challenge stages with objectives like requiring you to destroy enough targets before reaching the goal, or finish a hazard-filled level with a single ring to unlock bosses and the next set of stages. It's similar to Sonic Generations, with the main difference being that you need to complete all of the challenges to acquire the keys you need instead of just one. I do miss the collecting of the Chaos Emeralds you get in Sonic Generations because some of them had fun rival boss battles against characters like Metal Sonic and Silver, but since Sonic...
Yeah, the rival battles were completely removed, which I do think was a shame. Especially since Shadow does have some rivals. Like, he has a... whatchamacallit, he has Sonic, obviously, he has Silver, Mephiles, technically you could say he's a rival fight. Like, rival fights were definitely possible. It's just, they didn't do them, which was a shame. They could have replaced the Mephiles boss fight with like an encounter against Eggman.
Sonic is collecting them in his portion of the story. It wouldn't make much sense for Shadow to be collecting them at the same time in his.
This is the ultimate power.
With both campaigns combined, the total number of stages is now over 150, including traditional, challenge, and boss stages. That would take even an avid Sonic fan about 15 to 20 hours to burn through, and for those looking for even more challenges, completing the Shadow campaign will unlock a new option that increases the difficulty of bosses and challenge levels when replaying them. Though minimal, there are some new storylines that creatively weave between games where Shadow is
I wish Mephiles had a bigger role.
appeared,
Yeah,
tying
true.
them into big moments we've seen in past games, like Sonic and Shadow's duel in Sonic Adventure 2. There is also a healthy dose of new scenes filling in Shadow's past that reunite him with friends and foes, and offer more context to his storylines in games like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Adventure 2.
Couldn't have done it better myself.
These moments range from fascinating to kick-ass, and they always left me wanting more. Like Sonic's, Shadows is made up of fun reimaginations of some of his best stages across past Sonic games. We've got new versions of levels like Radical Highway, Rail Canyon, and Space Colony Arc, and each stage is packed to the brim with creative routes that make good use of Shadow's old and new abilities.
That is a fair point. Like, Shadow's levels are good. I just wish there were more of them. That's all.
He begins with this iconic Chaos Control ability, which stops time, including the stage timer, and allows you to outrun hazards like a runaway train, stop groups of enemies in their tracks so you can dispatch them with ease, or use the new Chaos Dash to reach strategically placed shortcuts. From there, you unlock Doom abilities that give you new options for movement and combat. Without going into spoiler territory, one of my favorites that you get about midway through the story is Doom Surf. This
Completely disagree. Doom Surf is ass.
power makes water levels a lot more fun by giving you a shadowy mana ray that can spin attack through enemies and objects. These abilities are handed out after finishing a group of stages or an area's boss, and they come at a fast enough pace to keep things consistently interesting and different from what came before.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of, I think the Doom abilities could have had, like, they had way more potential.
They should have given him a gun.
Like a Doom gun.
The Doom MP5 recocked it again.
The Doom minigun. I don't know, it's like running on water, it's like, that doesn't seem like a crazy thing for, like, Sonic characters nowadays. Especially when you factor in, like, Sonic, like, running across the water at high speeds versus riding a freaking manta ray. It just
There are
seems
also some
lame.
creative and enjoyable new versions of boss
Steve
fights,
Irwin,
like a metallic dragon that has you chasing him on the water, knocking trash into him, and charging up so you can unleash chaos control and land some real damage with the homing attack.
That power already belongs to me!
I wish there
Pretty
were more of
crazy how
those,
he's, like,
but
resistant
those that are
to
here make
chaos control.
excellent use of the most recent Doom abilities and are all fantastic additions to the collection of egg robots and various other bosses from Sonic history.
I will flatten you!
In fact, the only stage that broke my momentum and reminded me of the missteps of modern Sonic games was the Sonic Frontiers 3D stage. It feels empty compared to most of Sonic X Shadow Generations, and had an over-reliance on a new sludge-based upgrade for Shadow.
I mean, I completely disagree. I think the worst level in this game was Rail Canyon, just because of, like, as the name suggests, like, pretty much most of the stage is just nothing but rail grinding. It's boring, especially with how slow Shadow is in this game. Like, it's so boring. I really wish they made him, like, much faster.
I should have just
That
added
reminded
another
me
fish in.
of one of my least
Yeah.
favorite Wisp powers from Sonic Colors. Other than that, though, I enjoyed replaying every stage to find optimal paths, gathered collectible keys to unlock secrets in the hub world, and improve my runs until I earned the coveted S rankings. Sonic X Shadow Generations also evolves the all-white hub world of Sonic Generations by taking it from a 2D plane to a 3-dimensional one that expands outwards as you complete all the stages in a section and its accompanying boss.
See, like, the hub world was really cool. Like, especially when... Because, like, at first I thought it was like a Mario hub world where you just, like, follow a path until you get to the end. But no, the fact that it, like... It expands outwards and becomes, like, a circular hub world. It was pretty cool. But... Again, it's just the void aesthetic. It's like the hub world just looks boring. Like, it just looks bland and boring, and there's not like a huge amount here. I don't know. Do I prefer it to the islands? I guess I do. Because at the very least, it doesn't take you very long to get where you need to be. Whereas in the islands, it kind of does. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that one.
In between stages, I'd spend some time exploring the hub world to see what chests I could open using keys I'd collected, as well as completing various optional activities like collecting 100 rings in a short amount of time to unlock multiple rewards, like artwork, music, or journal entries about characters and the events of Shadow's life.
Chaos control!
Besides a McDonald's toy called the Shadow Grinder from 2003 and a DLC stage in Sonic Forces episode Shadow, this is...
The fuck? What? The Shadow Grinder.
Well, the what
the
is...
hell is that?
I think I'll look this up.
Bro, tiny.
The shad... What is this?
What's up?
I'm trying to see what this Shadow Grinder is.
This is the first...
Don't type Shadow Grinder, something else is gonna come up.
No, I specified McDonald's, don't worry.
So I'm gonna say don't type Shadow Grinder for the love of God, something else is gonna come up.
time we've gotten multiple full...
I'm still nervous about typing Sonic X Shadow Generations. Like that just doesn't sound like the sort of thing you should
Sonic
type.
X Shadow
2D shadow levels, and it was interesting to see how this expanded moveset impacted their designs. Abilities like Chaos Spears allowed me to hit switches from a distance to open up alternate paths, while...
What on earth is this?
Oh yeah, fun fact as well, I may as well tell you this. You know the guy that I'm going to be making the video on, who I said was like the ultimate joker of the Sonic community?
Oh god.
He does very suspicious things with Sonic and Mario.
Oh.
Oh, nah.
Rift, I found the thing he's on about, and it is
I'm gonna type it. Fuck it.
I'll just send you the link to this.
Nah, he is all sorts of fucked up.
What the fuck is that thing? It's like a
I've sent a video. On the video, I skipped to 20 seconds.
It's like a Game Boy, but cursed.
Actually, but... Well, I'll just send you a new link at the proper time. Just click on that.
I like how the
that'll
best
take
thing they
a long
have for
time.
Shadow is like a freaking McDonald's toy. They don't have like... They couldn't just talk about Sonic Adventure 2 or Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic 06. Like, no.
Doom Surf Mid.
A fucking McDonald's toy.
No longer having to deal with those underwater sections of Sonic games that a lot of people don't enjoy. You can just surf right on top of the water until reaching land. Finally, I have to call out that the...
I mean, that kind of defeats the point, though. Because it's like half of the fun of running on water is keeping the speed up. Because if you slow down, you'll fall through the water and drown. So it's like... I don't know, I don't really like, because like when the Manta Ray just like the Doom Surf just makes it literally impossible to drown, which I don't like. I feel like part of the fun of running on water is keeping the speed up, because otherwise gravity takes the
music
wheel.
accompanying our favorite hedgehogs as they race to the goal line is excellent. The guitar riffs for stages like Radical Highway and Space Colony Arc return and are joined by some fantastic tracks like Crush 40's All Hail Shadow and Sonic Heroes Rail Canyon. One of my favorite elements of the Generations games is selectable background music for every stage and challenge. So if you
the selectable music is awesome.
only want to hear Live and Learn across every stage like the Crush 40 Sicko You Are, that's me. You can do that. The only catch is that
whisper made me uncomfortable.
you have to find some of the music
You know
tracks
what?
in
I'd
chests
probably
scattered
say
across
my
Shadow's
favourite
hub world,
Sonic
or by
soundtrack
collecting the
is
music.
Infinite from Forces.
I don't know. Oh, I've been thinking about it. My favorite vocal Sonic themes. Endless Possibilities, that's one of them. Night of the Wind, I really like. Undefeatable is just the fan favorite.
Find Your Flame?
I don't think it'd be top 5, no. Fuck, I don't know, though. That's a hard one.
I don't know what my top 5 would be, but my top 3... Actually, my top 5 would probably be His World, All Hell Shadow...
Yeah, His World is
Infinite
really good. I like His
I
World.
wouldn't be able to rank anything else, but I would probably put Infinite as my number 1.
And Find Your Flame.
Yeah, what am I saying? So Endless Possibilities, Night of the Wind, fuck, what is it? Undefeatable, His World, and fuck, I don't know what the 5th one would be. I'll just say Open Your Heart, because Open Your Heart's just a classic.
Notes and red rings in Sonics to unlock them, but that's a price I'm willing to pay.
My favourite Black Knight song is With Me, the Crush 40 cover. Yeah, With Me is a pretty good song.
Sonic X Shadow Generations takes an already...
I also like Supporting Me, which is the music that plays during the Bio-Lizard fight. But it's not really a vocal theme, because the vocals are very quiet, especially in the boss fight.
excellent game, and Spring jumps it to new heights at a blistering pace by doubling up the campaign length with creative level design, fantastic bosses, plenty of collectibles, and an appreciable graphical upgrade. While the brand new Shadow content isn't necessarily long on its own, it adds a nice change of pace to the collection of all-time great Sonic stages Generations already contained. And there's an exciting new story that's filled in as you explore the overworld for collectibles, activities, and challenges. This bulked up remaster soars far and above previous enhanced versions we've gotten in the Sonic franchise, and hopefully will be the gold standard Sega holds itself to when it decides to bring back other Sonic games from the past.
Is it 9? I guess if you're factoring in both games, then yeah, I would probably say it's a 9. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. If you're factoring in both games, anyways. Because, like, Sonic Generations is phenomenal, like, years later. Shadow Generations is a good game, it's just a bit short. You put them both together and you have a really phenomenal product, really. But yeah, with that being said... 1 second. But yeah.
Oh no, my brain.
But yeah, with that being said though, guys, this is where we're going to end the stream, because we've watched basically every IGN Sonic video. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for being here, and hopefully the video will be out either today or tomorrow morning. What's the worst review yet? Probably the Sonic 4 episode 1, because like they completely love that game by a concerning amount, if I'm honest. But yeah, fucking buffer. But yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll upload the video, and then we'll be back Monday. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.